Good afternoon, people. Welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. Spurs are in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And we all know Ange always wins something in his second season. Liverpool in the semi-final, first leg beginning of January, second leg beginning of February. We're here to review the Manchester United game last night, which was the carnage that was ensuing on Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last night on that White Hart Lane pitch. Real sense of occasion at the ground yesterday. As I was saying on the fan show last night, like as you're walking up those steps towards the south stand, you could actually hear the noise coming out of the stadium. And it wasn't the concourse downstairs, but the concourse upstairs. People were it was packed up there and mad noise. I think the Return of the Shelf had some sort of meet-up up there, and it was absolutely rocking. Downstairs as well, there were songs going on. So really got that sense of occasion, real cup feeling last night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it did relay onto the pitch, into the stands.
Cup atmosphere's been pretty good this year, haven't they?
Yeah, they have been, and that atmosphere did relay into the stadium, but I did feel like the two teams, as they were playing in that first half, did kind of suck the life out of the atmosphere for a little bit, because I felt like the way the first half was going and the way the first half went, it was kind of two teams not really at it. I didn't feel Spurs were particularly at it. I didn't think Man United were particularly at it. One real chance of the first half and it went in. So, I mean, I don't think either team probably deserved to be going in at half-time winning, but it was Spurs.
I don't think we were that bad in the first half.
No, I'm not saying we were bad, but I just don't think we created much. I just felt like it was two teams really just cancelling each other out.
Well, Decky had a chance that, he forced Bayinda into a save. Obviously, he scored the goal. Decky then nearly forced an own goal as well from Ugarte, which was a good move. I think we were looking threatening. I think they were looking threatening. I didn't think it was a terrible game in the first half, actually. Interesting how you can have different perceptions when you're at the game and maybe when you're watching it on TV. You've seen it a lot of times. But I thought both teams were kind of going at it. And I think we kind of defended quite well in terms of United were creating many openings from the wing-backs. But whenever they had a few times, right, they had that pull back to Eriksen on the edge of the box, which every time it happened, it was a block from one of our defenders.
It was mainly Basuma every time.
Basuma, I think Archie Gray blocked one as well. So I think you got to say that on the face of it, that's just good defending when you're throwing your body on the line, protecting Fraser Forster's goal. I don't think Forster had to make too many saves in that first half. I thought we actually looked dangerous. We had a few. I thought the moments when we were catching Man United in the middle, in terms of there was a few times we won the ball high up the pitch in the middle of the park, and then ultimately sprung on them, and probably could have made them more out of some of the opportunities we did make in those scenarios. But we did create some opportunities. Decky, I thought, was buzzing around, being brilliant. Maddison, I thought, was doing all right as well. And yeah, look, Decky could have had a goal, I thought, with a brilliant turn on Ugarte inside the penalty box, which forced a save. I thought Sonny was looking bright. Again, he could have done a bit more with some of the opportunities he had in that first half. And I thought it was kind of a bit of an even game. I thought we did have the better of the opportunities in the first half, to be honest.
I mean, we had some shots on target. They didn't have any shots on target. That was the reality.
And a well-taken goal. It looks easy, but that wasn't an easy finish from Solanke.
Oh, it was a brilliant finish. Kissed the inside of the post. He does well to gamble, obviously, with the keeper. I don't know what he's doing there, parrying it.
Terrible keeping,
he parried it. It's terrible keeping from, what's his name?
Bayinda.
And it was that was the tale, though, of the game, though. The tale of the two keepers. But yeah, that was the first one. And Solanke does really well to gamble. Shot, kissed the inside of the post and goes into the back of the net.
Because when he gets the ball, if you have a snapshot of where he shoots from, that's not an easy finish. He doesn't have a lot of the goals to aim at. He's taking it first time. They have to react very quickly. It's not the easiest angle. I know it's a rebound, but the keeper at that point is already back up. It's not like the keeper's down. He has an open net. The keeper's back up and in position. And he has to pretty much hit it at that specific place where he hits it, right inside the post. And as you say, he does keep himself onside, even though there was no VAR. The replay showed he was definitely onside. And that's what you get with Dom Solanke. Defenders can never rest when he's around, especially when we're taking shots, because he's always on the move and he's always sniffing out opportunities to kind of get in rebounds and sniff out where the ball's going to land. He's very, very good at that. And I was saying to Cooper yesterday, it's very, very hard to stop when you have a defence like United were yesterday where they're holding the line for offside, right? So they have a point where they have to stop because they're holding that line for offside. And then you've got a striker like Dom Solanke where as soon as that ball's hit from Porro, he's on the move forward. And if he can keep himself onside, like that's pretty. I think that's very, very hard to stop. How do you stop that if you're being told you have to hold that line for offside? You can't follow Solanke in because you're holding that line. If Solanke's timing his run right, it's almost impossible to stop.
Yeah, and I guess like the only way to combat is not hold the line and follow the man.
But then you're risking keeping
of course
onside, so that's
of course.
the balance.
So, obviously Solanke did really well for that goal, and this is something I've been calling for Solanke for like many a time this season. We've seen where he's got in the right positions and his finishing's just not been up to scratch. I thought yesterday those 2 goals that he scored, he took them both so well, man. The second one particularly, the way he ran at their defence, beat one man, beat 2 man, and just slotted it in the bottom corner. I think Dom Solanke for both those goals was incredible. He really was incredible, really incredible. And that's what we've been missing from Solanke a little bit since he's joined the club, I feel. And hopefully those 2 finishes now will give him a lot of confidence maybe to kick on and start getting regular goals.
Scores, we keep saying that, don't we?
Yeah, but I think these goals were a bit different, though, to the goals that he has scored in the past, particularly the second one.
Yeah, the second one was definitely one which, again, we got very used to like Kane scoring those type of goals, just making a yard for himself and clinically finishing it. I've always said Solanke, he's capable of doing it, but he's not going to be doing it every game like Kane was. Kane was a special player, and we kind of got so used to Kane doing amazing things so regularly that we just thought they were normal in terms of like those finishes like into the side netting regularly. A goal like yesterday where he'll take a couple of touches inside and bury it in the corner. Now, Solanke showed yesterday he is capable of scoring that type of goal, and he showed on occasion for Bournemouth. But again, if you look at the majority of his goals for Bournemouth, they're not like that. Those are more the exception to the rule. A lot of his goals are more like the first goal we scored. He scored yesterday, or like tap-ins or crosses in the box with first-time finishers. That's more his that's what Solanke's good at. That's more like his kind of finish. So, yes, I would love to see Solanke do that kind of thing more, but I don't really think we signed him to score those type of goals. Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't, and we shouldn't expect more of that from him because he's capable of it. But that's not how we got his 19 goals for Bournemouth. It wasn't those type of goals. It was more the goal like the first one.
But if he can add that to his repertoire,
then
if he can
100%.
add that, then you're talking about a top striker.
100%.
Because I've really liked what Solanke is bringing in terms of work rate, dropping deep, hold-up play, and his sheer physicality. And I think he showed all of those aspects yesterday as well. But then to add that, I mean, it's brilliant.
And that second goal doesn't happen without Solanke as well, because if you look at where that starts from, the ball gets played into him. He's got 3 United defenders around him. He holds them all off. He recovers the ball. He gets out. He gets it to Spence quickly. He gets it quickly out wide to Son, and all of a sudden it starts a very direct attack, and it leads to the goal. So, that kind of stuff can't be underestimated as well.
I want to show you as well. Can I bring up my phone? Can I just connect my phone for a second? Because I thought this was really interesting. While it's loading up, it's obviously... I just want to show you guys Dom Solanke's positioning on the pitch yesterday in the average lineup, and also his heat map. So look at this heat map, yeah? This is our striker. This is our number 9 that scored 2 goals yesterday. Mm-hmm. He is literally in every area of the pitch. It's unbelievable the positions that he takes up on the pitch and how he can still influence it going the other way and provide such quality. So that's his average heat map.
But I think when you go up against a team like United who are playing 3 at the back, he has to do that because he's got.
He does it every game though. He does it.
He does it. Yeah, he does it a lot of games as well. But I think there are some games where you ask him, can you pin the defenders back and can you like be a bit further forward? But in this kind of game, they got 3 centre backs there, so you've got to kind of find the space where you can. And I think, dropping a bit deeper is probably the best. And obviously, look, he did do that for the 3rd goal, stretch the defence, but that's when we're 2-0 up. They have to maybe come out a bit. So, that he's got that in his game as well.
And then this is his average position yesterday. He's actually deeper than Kulusevski, Son, Maddison, and Sarr. That's mad. And Sarr.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. I guess if you can see here, quite a few of his touches were the kickoff. You can see right in the middle because
fair.
Because if you look at his touches, and it quite regularly is the case, he had, I think, probably the least touches on the pitch, didn't he? He had how many touches?
35.
35 touches, but he only had 15 passes.
Yeah. 15 passes, 10 accurate.
So I'm guessing he probably touched the ball less than anyone else. And that's what we've known about playing striker in the Ange Postecoglou system is, we were told before that they have to do a lot of the running, a lot of the pressing. They're not always going to be the focal point in terms of not everything's going to go through them. They're going to be tasked with kind of finishing off moves. And obviously he's brought an extra element to that game where you can really get the ball into him and hold it up. But he's not... we don't need him to see a lot of the ball to be effective, and again, that was an example of it.
Yeah, and just his sheer work rate. He's just so much for the team, even when he's
4
not touching
tackles.
the ball. Unbelievable.
There you go, for a striker.
From Big Dob Solanke. And I felt like, I didn't think it was like a vintage display from Spurs yesterday, but I thought it was a display where we got the job done and we were really clinical when we did get our chances. And I felt like from individual standpoint, there were some really top displays out there. When you're looking at Solanke, you're looking at Kulusevski, and you're looking at Sarr Bissouma and Jed Spence as well. Jed Spence, what an assist, by the way. Two games, 2 assists, and 2 assists of the highest quality, aren't they?
Yeah, brilliant ball through. Weighted perfectly. Again, similar to what I said about his Maddison assist. Perfectly weighted pass and perfectly timed pass as well, keeping him onside. And as well, right into Solanke's path. Obviously, Solanke still had a lot to do after that moment, but brilliant pass from Spence, because he's on the left-hand side. And I think, does a doggy play that pass? I haven't seen the doggy play that kind of pass too often. So brilliantly picked out from Jed Spence, and good reward for another really good display from him.
Jed Spence is our most on-form fullback.
No, by far.
By far, you know, you're looking at it, and surely the question should be right now, who partners Spence at fullback opposed to who does Spence come in for?
In this form, I think he's got to play because he's playing really well. He's earned his spot in the last 2 games. It's not as if he's just... I think Ange said it in his press conference perfectly. It's not as if he's just come in and filled in and done a job and, waiting for the other fullbacks to come in. He's actually come in and actually made a big impact in the team. And actually, I think he's really helped with the energy levels. His in anticipation's been really, really good. The way he nicks balls in the middle of the park and he pounces on loose passes brilliantly. And in the final third, he showed he can also make a difference. Got an assist against Southampton, brilliant assist, and another assist against United. So, as well, he's fresher than the other players right now. He's fresher than Udogie and Porro. I saw a stat the other day, and maybe this is why we're seeing poor performances potentially in recent weeks from Porro and Udogie, because no one has played more minutes than both those players in the whole squad. And we've seen having that freshness in Spence coming into the team, what a difference it's made in the past 2 games. Massive difference.
And I'm going to keep asking the question, why has it taken so long for him to see starts in big games or in Premier League games, quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup? He's seen starts now, but why has it taken so long when we've seen our fullbacks over the past month tiring and underperforming a little bit? It's madness, isn't it? When you have a player like that chomping at the bit to play and he provides such quality.
His excuse was Archie Gray has been filling in there. And that's the reason why Spence hasn't really maybe got the opportunities he deserved. That's what he says. And now Gray's obviously moved to centre-back. It's given an opening for Spence to come in. But look, judging on, I think Spence has been better from what we've seen from Archie Gray in full-back.
By far, I think.
So, on that evidence, he should have been ahead of Gray when it comes to full-backs.
I mean, Spence is actually a natural fullback and Archie Gray's a natural midfielder. So, I mean, that doesn't make sense, that excuse, to be honest. And particularly when when Udogie and Porro have both needed, rest, where you could, if he really wanted to, he could have played Archie and Spence, at fullback. Yeah. So it's not really an excuse that washes with me. I think that Spence should have been seeing more game time. But I'm so happy that he's had the game time now, 2 starts in a row, and he's grabbed that opportunity with both hands, standout performer in both the games that he's played, and 2 assists of high quality as well. But you look at the start of the second half, and you've seen Spurs under Ange do this so many times. Just come out of the second half and just knock 2 goals in quite early and just blow the other team away. And I felt that's exactly what we did. Yeah,
because I think we've shown under Ange Postecoglou, once we kind of get ahead, get momentum in the game, we're very hard to stop. How many times do we see, not even just in second half, so it does usually happen in second half, the momentum just go with Tottenham. We hit a team for 1 and all of a sudden we hit them for 2 or maybe even 3. And it's happened so many times. Even in recent weeks, Southampton happened, against Chelsea it happened as well. We know that momentum going in our favour, and we can hit teams very, very quickly. And I think that just goes to show when we're in full flight, when the momentum is with us, when we're on our game, we're very, very difficult to stop. And once the tide is coming against the opposition, all of a sudden they seem under it, and all of a sudden we're swarming them, and we are very, very difficult to stop in those scenarios. And I think yesterday was another example of that. We got that first goal from Kulusevski, and we were rampant. Decky was doing Rabona through balls. We were looking like we could score at every opportunity, and then Slanky gets a third. And at that point, you think the game is done. Obviously, it wasn't. We'll get into that. But Spurs in full flight under Ange Postecoglou is a scary prospect for oppositions, and I think that's another example of it.
Yeah, it really is. And we talk about as well, like the Chelsea game and this game where we've taken leads and we've let it slip. Well, we let it slip to a certain extent yesterday, and we completely let it slip against Chelsea. Do you put any of that down? Because I see a lot of people, like even journalists, maybe I think it was Neville or Carragher, I can't remember which one was saying it last night, that Ange Postecoglou needs to adjust tactics when ahead and maybe sit in a little bit. But can he account for the 2 penalties that we gave away at Chelsea? Can he account for the 2 mistakes that Fraser Forster made yesterday? Like, are any of these situations why we're not in game, keeping the lead and to a respectable amount, like anything to do with tactics?
I think maybe the Chelsea one a bit more, just because they were maybe putting us under a bit more pressure, and that relentless pressure may be a consequence of, I didn't see us defend like we did in the last 20 minutes in this game, and maybe like we played against City in that Chelsea game. So maybe in that Chelsea game, could we have defended a bit like that in after going 2-0 up and kind of managed the game? In this scenario, I don't think it's got anything to do with Ange changing his tactics or anything like that. It's got nothing to do with game management. It's got nothing even to do with playing out the back. Because that second goal is not because we've decided to play out the back. That second goal comes because Forster's too slow. Any keeper in the Premier League is at some point going to have the ball played back to them, and they're going to have to lump it forward or whatever. So it's got nothing to do with playing out the back. That's just got to do with Forster being extremely slow in that scenario with the ball at his feet. The first goal, you can maybe say it's maybe from playing out the back, but Forster again, he doesn't have to play it to Dragoshin. He can maybe clip it to Porro. He can maybe go long. He doesn't have to make that decision. He's just not aware of where Fernandes is. It's just another mistake. It's not like Forster has seen Bruno there, right? And he's seen Dragoshin there. He's like, I've been told I need to play out the back, so even though Bruno's there, I'm going to pass it to Dragoshin and risk it. I don't think that's the case. I think he just didn't see Bruno. I think he completely screwed up, and obviously we were made to pay from it. But that's got nothing to do with the tactics. It's got nothing to do with Ange's decision to keep playing out the back and playing it short to invite the opposition on. That's completely to do with 2 absolute brain farts from Forster, 100%. And I don't understand the narrative. I'm listening to these pundits as you're saying, it's Ange doesn't change the way you play. It's because Ange keeps going forward. Ange doesn't care about game state. That might be true, but yesterday had nothing to do with that. Had absolutely nothing to do with that. It wasn't about us continuing to going forward, and that's why we conceded those goals. It had nothing to do with that. Just Forster made 2 really bad mistakes, and I hate the lazy analysis. Just because we gave away 2 goals while we're leading, I know it feeds into that narrative that Ange, he only has one way of playing and he doesn't change it for how the game is going or anything like that. But I think watching yesterday's game and coming to that conclusion is just lazy punditry, I think.
And when you're talking about like his insistence to play it out the back, I mean, just don't make those stupid errors. Like, you can't, like, when you're talking about game management and managing the game from going 3-0 up towards the end of the game, even when you're talking about game management from a tactical perspective, I agree with you. But game management has also got to do with decision making and cutting out these stupid individual errors that we're talking about. So I guess maybe when some people, because I spoke about game management last night, that's what I was talking about. Like, just don't make stupid errors. Like, maybe it is, easier said than done. But those errors at the back end of the Chelsea game to give away those 2 penalties, those errors from Fraser Forster last night, I mean, it's just something that keeps happening.
100%. I would say the Chelsea one, the only reason I say it's a bit different is because when you've got a team like Chelsea, like they were on that game, like entering the penalty box as often as they were, right, and just putting you under more and more pressure, the likelihood of something stupid or a mistake happening in your penalty box probably goes up, right? Because you're continually having to make challenges and make blocks and make tackles, and the possibility of or percentage of you getting one of those wrong goes up the more you're under that pressure. So it's more understandable, albeit still not an excuse. I can kind of rationalise it. This scenario, 10 times out of 10, a keeper gets the ball played back to them and he punts it forward. 10 times out of 10, they should be able to get that away. That goal from Amad Diallo should never be happening 10 times out of 10. There's no excuse for that happening.
No.
That's just inexcusable. Like, no manager in the world can account for what happened for that goal. That's just something that is beyond tactics, beyond management. That's something you can plan for. So it's I completely agree. It's nothing to do with tactics. It's nothing to do with anything like that. It's just Forster completely fucking up.
Yeah, 100%. But and that first goal, that stupid playing out the back, or and Bruno nicking in there. It gave Man United so much kind of belief in the game, didn't it? 1-0, because there was so much time left in the game. I think we go 3-1. We go 3-0 up on the 53rd or 54th minute or something. What was the time of
just before he scored that goal, he made a brilliant save for us as well.
It was literally a minute before, and they score 63. They score 70, and suddenly we're just like, oh my god, what is going on?
You go
here?
From the game, you thinking the game is dead at 3-0 to at that point. Once they get that goal right on 70 minutes. Do they then become favourites to go through at that point? Because the momentum is with them. They're bringing on all these subs. They're fresher. We're out on our feet at that point. We've still got, remember, an 18-year-old centre-back and all these different things. And at that point, I think a lot of United fans were convinced they were going to go through at that point.
I think a lot of Spurs fans were convinced that Spurs are going to bottle this because they scored 2 in under 10 minutes,
gifts.
right? Complete gifts. Like, you can't account for what happened. I was sitting there. Everyone around me was sitting. This is so classic Spurs. Like, how can you be in control on the 55 and then on 65 or 70? It's back to 3-2 and you've still got a large chunk of the game to play. And Man United are completely in the ascendancy. A minute after that as well, Fraser Forster makes that save, doesn't he, with his feet? And I was like, oh my God, what is
like
going on here?
Clearing the ball.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on here?
People have described it as a save you'll see on your five-a-side pitch every day of the week.
Literally.
Power League.
Literally. And, United were gaining momentum.
I think, to be fair, though, you've got to give Spurs credit, as much as, yes, we were under the cosh those last 20 minutes. Like, how many real good chances do United have? I thought we actually defended quite well.
Yeah, the stats say that Man U created 4 big chances in that second half. I mean,
two of them
with the goal. But we only created 1 big chance, it says, in the second half.
Which was probably one of the goals we scored.
Yeah, I'm guessing it wasn't Solanke. It was probably Kulu's goal.
Yeah, probably. But I'm talking about in that last 20 minutes, right? People. I saw Redknapp say there was a masterclass in how to give up a game, how to throw away a game, or how to manage a game, or how to bottle a lead or something. And people are talking about how Man United were peppering us, all this kind of stuff. But I think you need to give credit to this team because it's right. We were under the cosh and we were looking like we could easily give up that lead at any point. And Man United had just brought on all these fresh players and they were the ones in the intensity. They had the momentum. But in that last 20 minutes, I actually got to give credit to that defence because I thought we did dig deep. I thought we actually did defend really well. And I think we did keep Man United at arm's length. I think Mazraoui had one chance where it would have been a good goal if he scored it, but that was maybe one opportunity. And then they had Diallo had that long shot. That was from 25 yards. But Man United really failed to actually break us down.
And the Basuma near own goal as well.
Yeah, but that was nothing. That happened, but it was nothing. It wasn't like they created a chance from that.
Yeah, but you also look at it, right? And if Son doesn't score that absolute wonder goal from the corner, whether he meant it or not, you're probably looking at penalty shootout. That's the reality.
I don't necessarily think so. Maybe they get a last minute goal, maybe they don't. We held them for 20 minutes before Son scored. I think on the face of it, when you're watching the game, can you say they look like scoring? Yes, but just because, first of all, you're a Spurs fan and you're probably chewing your nails, you're probably scared of every time they come forward.
I think the majority outside of Spurs would have thought that as well.
Yeah, but maybe. But what did they create? They did struggle to create good quality chances. I think that's a fact. And I think they didn't. I think we actually did defend really well. And I think, given the makeshift nature of our defence and the fact we had to dig in deep for that 20-minute spell, we didn't. After gifting them 2 goals, that defence didn't crumble and they didn't give up really good opportunities. And we made sure we were solid and we did defend in those last 20 minutes, like we had against Man City and like we had against Man City, I guess, in that period. I think that deserves more credit than it's getting. People are saying, I'm going back to these pundits saying this is a masterclass in falling apart, but we didn't fall apart. We actually never gave up the lead. And yes, we gave up 2 goals and that's shocking mistakes, but we actually, from that point, were really solid, I thought, and we didn't give up those opportunities, and I think that deserves more credit than it's getting.
I just feel like I agree with you what you're saying. I do feel like we held strong for those 20 minutes, and they had a couple of chances, but we kept them at bay for the majority of it. But it just plays into the narrative when you're 3-0 up on the 55th minute mark, and then 20 minutes later, 15 minutes later, it's back to 3-2, and then you're under the cosh. So it was a bit of a masterclass at that point to let Man U back in the game. But
we won the game, and we didn't give them the lead.
Of course we won the game.
We didn't fall apart in the end.
Of course we won the game, but it was just individual errors that we've seen pretty much all season that let Man United back into the game, and we need to cut these things out of our game, and if we want comfortable wins. That's the reality.
I'm not saying we don't, but we didn't end up falling apart because we ended up winning.
I agree. I'm saying I agree.
Falling apart, like, I think you have to lose to fall apart, if you know what I mean. And we didn't. We end up holding strong. So and again, as I say, look at the nature of that defence we're playing to not completely crumble at that point. Well, as I say, at 2, when it goes back to 3-2, I think a lot of people would have United favourites at that point.
Yeah.
And we held strong, and that defence held strong at that point.
You got to say Fraser Forster now. I don't want to lay into him because he's been brilliant since coming in for Vicario. I think every game apart from this game he's probably put in a top display since coming in. But now yesterday has happened. Do we think a goalkeeper needs to come in January?
I don't know. Well, judging by, I was just listening to Andrew's press conference, judging by his response, it doesn't look like they're going to bring one in. I think we do in general need a sub-keeper. I don't think it's just about Vicario being injured. I think we were looking at one in the summer. I think we do need a natural replacement for Vicario if he's injured, or to be our number 2. We need a better option than Forster. I think that's so. In a perfect world, yes, would I bring in another keeper in January? I would go for one for sure. If we have a limited budget and we have to go for certain things and we don't have loads of money to spend and we can only get one player, let's say in January, let's say we have 40 million to spend on one player. Do we spend it on do we spend half of that on a goalkeeper, or do we go 40 million on like a winger or something like that, or a fullback or something? I'd probably rather do that than put resources towards a goalkeeper. But if we have resources to go towards a keeper, I'll go for one, and I'll try and upgrade on Forster. But obviously it leads to different complications to Europa League squad and all this different stuff. It looks at the moment like we're not going to get one, but in a perfect world, yes, but my point is I'm not going to be terribly angry at this point if we don't, just because I think Forster's actually been a lot better than I expected in this long run. But yesterday was very worrying. Hopefully teams don't target that in terms of our team's going to force us to play it back to the keeper with the view of pressing him with what they saw yesterday. One annoying thing,
I don't think we were forced. I don't think Archie Gray even had to play it back.
He didn't, yeah, it was unforced, but maybe teams will see that and start forcing us to play it back to the keeper. One thing was annoying was I actually thought in the first half he was actually quite good with his feet. Yeah. He played this one beautiful dink pass into Manderson in the middle of the park. I was like, wow, Fraser, that's beautiful passing. I was like, maybe he's been working on that. But clearly, yesterday wasn't, especially the second one, it wasn't a case of he can't play with his feet. It was more of he was just so slow. It was so slow to, once he was putting that pressure from Diallo, he was so slow to move, and it was not like he played a bad pass. He just couldn't get the pass off because he was moving so slowly. It took him age to wind his foot back and try and boot it. And
I watched it. When I watched it back, I was like, "What's going on here? Is my YouTube going in slow motion or something?"
Honestly,
and I see Amad Diallo just steaming in.
Ridiculous. So look, I don't think yesterday, just off the back of one game, will convince Ange I now need to definitely sign a keeper in Jan. I think whether it was in his thoughts or not in January, I think they'll go forward with what they were planning. I don't think that's going to change based off one game, is my point.
So I think the majority of fans, probably before that game yesterday, would have said, no, we'll probably be all right till the end of the season. But I think probably a lot of fans' mind might have changed after that, particularly if we would have gone out, but we didn't go out.
Yeah, the only problem is if between now and January he continues to make those kind of mistakes, then our opinions might change.
Yeah, it's only 3 games left in December.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that Sonny goal, because it just caused absolute carnage in the stands, and it was at a time where we just desperately needed it. Spurs were under the cosh. Spurs get a corner, and everyone around me was like, "Oh, we never bloody score from corners." And then I'm on the watch along being like, "Oh, we've got a corner," and it just goes all the way in, and the curl and the whip that he had on
Beautiful.
it. look, keeper should never be letting the ball in the back of the net from a corner. That's the reality. But for Sonny, captain, to step up in that moment and score such an unbelievable goal, whether he meant it or not, I don't know if he meant it or not, but I kind of feel like...
He told Ben Haynes he meant it.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. But like I said to you on the fan show as well, I have noticed Maddison trying it a bit of late. I don't know if he's trying to put it in the back of the net or he's just trying to put the pressure on the keeper and get men around the keeper to force him into a mistake or something. But I think that's been a clear kind of instruction maybe with our recent corners. Yeah,
to try and put the keeper under as much pressure as possible. And maybe even with the fact that you put it in area and we can either get a flick on, or if everyone misses it, it does go straight in. Maybe that is a direct tactic. But I agree with you. We've seen a few attempts already in the past few weeks or something similar. And if you look at the goalkeeper's position, yes, he should never be letting him in. But he wasn't, even without, well, I guess we'll go into whether it was a foul or not. But even without Bergval's intervention, he's not claiming that comfortably. He's probably getting he has to touch it over the bar or something. He has to make a save, essentially, from it. So it was never going to be a comfortable moment for Bayern Bit. But he's complaining that Bergval fouled him. I mean, you've seen it back. What do you think? Do you think there's a foul?
No, I don't think it's a foul. I don't think it's a foul. I think he touches him, but how many times have we seen, players touching opposition keepers and nothing being given?
Keeper.
Well, every week, our keeper. I mean, look at Arsenal. Look at Arsenal every week from their corners. I mean, they do stuff on their corners every week that never gets called. That's much worse than what Bergval showed yesterday.
Bergval was a little tap on his hand. Yeah,
there was nothing in that. There was nothing in that. Nothing in that whatsoever.
If that was Vicario, everyone would be saying, what a howler from him. And I think that's rightfully calling out Bayindir as well, because I think it's weak from him. He should be claiming that. He should be saving it, I should say. I think it was a terrible piece of goalkeeping. He was flailing from it anyway, regardless of where Bergval was. He was already flailing for the ball. And I think it was just a brilliant delivery from Sonny. Whether he meant it to go straight in, it was still a really good delivery. And he got the reward for it, the fact it did go straight in. When was the last time or ever we scored directly from a corner? I don't remember ever.
I don't think ever.
Apparently he scored in Olympico.
Yeah, that's what Spurs are trying to make it. I've never heard that term.
I've never heard. I've had a few people saying, Olympico, apparently. Where's that come from? I don't know, but...
Sonny get the Olympico, but
he can add that to his repertoire of bangers.
Unbelievable, Sonny. Unbelievable.
Directly from a corner.
It was the timing of the goal.
Oh, we needed
it. The timing of the goal was just perfect because there was such a mood around the stadium, being like every Spurs fan had their head in their hands. Everyone
just waiting for
to die, pretty much, just waiting. Man U were gathering momentum, and then in that moment of time, it killed the game. Even though Man U went up the other end and scored, it killed the game because it had that 2-goal buffer.
It was so funny. They announced 6 minutes of stoppage time, and we just got the second goal. So I was like, fine, I think we can breathe a bit, and then we concede again in stoppage time. It's like, just 6 minutes of peace, Tottenham, please. You can't even give me that. Just 6 minutes of I don't have to be stressed and worried, and you have to even that 6 minutes you have to concede in stoppage time.
We did it in true Spurs style.
You know what I mean?
We did it, but we did it. That's even the main thing.
Forster maybe should have saved as well. That goal, it went straight at him, that header.
Yeah. Look. Forster definitely comes into question yesterday, but the main fact of the matter is that we did the job last night. We got through to the semi-finals by hook or by crook. We got over the line with 10 first-team players out. And you know what? I've given Ange Postecoglou a lot of criticism over the last couple of weeks. I really have. And I want to give him his praise for yesterday because it's really hard to navigate the season as we're navigating it at the moment with the amount of injuries that we do have. And to put in these kind of displays over the last couple of weeks, last 2 games with Southampton. Yeah, I know Southampton just lost their manager and worst team in the Premier League, 5 points all season and all that. But we absolutely blew them away. Absolutely blew them away in the first half, 5 goals. And to respond to that with pretty much same team, a lot of tired legs out there it would have been, running on a lot of emotion and what's the word I'm looking for? Adrenaline, that's the one. Adrenaline coming into this game in a Carabao Cup quarter-final, which, the fans probably called this as the most important game of the season so far. And to score 4 goals against Man United with, like I said, a lot of tired legs out there, I think he's got a really hard job on his hands at the moment with all these injuries. So I want to give him a lot of credit for the way he's managing the team over the past week and a half because, look, it's really difficult. It's really difficult.
Yeah,
So,
to muster up a performance like that is not easy. I know Man United rested players, but it was still quite a strong team out there. You got the likes of Bruno, Højlund, Ugarte.
having said that, though, when I saw the lineups, I said no excuses for Spurs not to win today.
Obviously, I think you would have
Gave us a spring in our steps.
Yeah, I think you'd be encouraged by the lineup that they had, but they still got, Lissandro Martinez there. They had Yoro there, who's looked quite good. Ugarte. They had Ericsson, who beginning of the season was looking really good. Dallo and Mazraoui was their first choice fullbacks. They got Bruno and Højlund, who are obviously their first choice attackers as well. So yes, they had the likes of Anthony and Lindelof and Bayinda sprinkled in there. They still had a lot of their first choice players out there. So it was never going to be easy. I said it was very important that by the hour mark we were in a substantial lead, because I knew one thing we were definitely going to tire, and secondly they were going to bring on all their more important players like Ahmad and people like that. Well, I guess only who else was on the bench who wasn't really scared of? I know that Ahmad. I know Xerxes came on and scored. Maybe Mainu. Mainu obviously came on and improved them.
They had the players that they brought on were Evans, Diallo, Mainu, Xerxes, and Garnacho, and then Onana, Maguire, and Malacia and Casemiro didn't come on.
Okay, so in terms of the players on the bench, Ahmad and probably Mainu, you're probably worried about making a big impact, and they did come on and make an impact. To be fair, so I was definitely of the opinion we had to be in a big lead before that moment to make sure we get through, and we were 3-0 up, and obviously when they come on, there's no surprise. Obviously they got it back to 3-2. Maybe at that point, albeit the goals they scored was a bit of a surprise, but again, going into this game, a cup quarter-final against, in terms of opposition, yes, they're in transition, but they've still got a lot of good players under a new manager who's sorting things out at the moment, but we're setting up in a three at the back system with wing backs and all this different stuff we do struggle against. And to have that back line and to get through that quarterfinal and be 3-0 up and manage that quarterfinal the way we have, I think deserves a lot of praise. And as you say, Ange has been coming in for a lot of criticism as well. Could he have yesterday, other managers yesterday, maybe with the lineup that we had, maybe think, okay, we've got to protect our back line, we've got to sit back, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, you've got to change the way we play to accommodate the players coming in. And maybe we would have sat back and we just would have lost. We would have died a slow death. But Ange wasn't having it that way. And he decided we're going to keep playing our football. I'm confident we can play our football with the players we've got out there. And, we ended up scoring 4 goals and winning the game. And I think he deserves massive, massive credit. And yes, in recent weeks as well, in other games like the Bournemouth game and other games, it's backfired and we haven't got the result that we wanted. But for that, we've also had in recent weeks really good results. And a lot of people saying this is our most important game of the season. A lot of people saying there was a lot of focus on this game and we won a trophy. And I think he deserves a lot of praise for mustering up a performance out of this team with the injuries we got in such an important game and getting through. And big fair play to him. And hopefully, look, I think since the Southampton game anyway, it looks like a lot of the fans are back on his side. I bet if we do a poll now compared to when we did a poll a few weeks ago after the Bournemouth game where it was like, 60-40, Ange in to Ange out, I bet it's probably a lot higher than that now.
Probably 70-30, 75-80, something like that. Yeah.
So I think hopefully this little mini run of form in the past week has kept the walls from the doors in terms of people getting on his back too much and people realising that we are in an injury crisis at the moment, and once we come through it, we're going to be okay, I think.
I hope so. And look, we've said this so many times throughout the course of the season, but now we've got these back-to-back. When's the last time we had back-to-back wins?
Beating City and Villa, apparently.
So beating City and Villa, so that was in October, so about a month ago. A month and a half ago. So it's been a long time. We've just gone through a really difficult period in terms of the state of the squad and managing our way through games and player tiredness, the emergence of Spence, the emergence of Gray and Dragshin. We didn't even mention Gray and Dragshin properly. I mean, the partnership that they're forming at the moment, particularly Gray as a makeshift centre-back and Dragshin as like the more experienced one, I think since they've come in, we haven't lost a game. I think we drew against Rangers.
Yeah.
We beat Southampton, and now we've beaten Manchester United in the Carabao Cup.
Great, man. Again, not enough is being made out of him. What a talent this kid is. Yeah. Coming in as centre-back, when you're not a centre-back at 18, against a team like Man United and performing the way he did, absolutely exceptional, man. Exceptional. What a talent this kid is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree. So, look, we have to use this now as a springboard. I know we've said this so many times, but we have to. I know it's going to be hard because we've got Liverpool this week. We've got 2 very hard games now. Liverpool at home and Forest away. two very difficult games in terms of like trying to build that momentum. And then the last game of the year is Wolves, and then we got Newcastle, 2 home games going into the new year. So it's going to be very difficult. But now we've won these 2 games, surely, and some players potentially coming back over the next couple of weeks, surely that does give the team a bit more confidence, because I think they were lacking in a bit of that.
For sure. Look, we'll go into Liverpool preview later, but I don't know if we'll win that game. But hopefully, we can just get enough wins to keep us in the hunt for that top 5 while we wait for injuries to come back. And then once we get that injuries come back, then hopefully at that point we can go on a bit of a run. I don't think we'll win all those 3 games between now and the new year. We'll probably drop points in 1 or 2 of them, or maybe 3. I don't know. We might drop points in a few of those games, but if we can just get 1 or 2 wins in there, just keep us in the hunt with the league so tight, that will be enough for me to show me that we can go on a bit of run second half of the season potentially once the players come back, and that would be very, very important. And hopefully, people start believing in Ange again, because clearly he was wavering. And look, we still got a lot of work to do for sure, and the form over the last year hasn't been good enough. But again, as I said, it's just a snapshot in time. It'll come the end of the season. If we're in that top 5 or whatever, and maybe we even have a trophy, no one's going to be saying, "Oh, but in that calendar year we weren't good enough," because that won't be important. What's important is where you finish and what you've achieved, and that's going to be the most important thing. And hopefully, if we can get a signing or 2 in January, get those players back, we can see what this football can bring. We see how effective this football can be when it's in full flight. And then for me, it's about getting that football more consistently, rather than being worried about the inconsistent form and just chucking away the whole project, because clearly I think we're still onto something.
And you saw Ange in the post-match interview with Sky Sports.
Oh, he was delighted, wasn't he?
I've never seen him so happy before.
That smile.
He was literally brimming. His smile was going from ear to ear, literally.
But I think he must have known what a big game it was, because everyone's been talking about cups and trophies, and this quarterfinal so big, and he knew what a big game it was. So the fact that we managed to get through with the injuries that we got and the team he had out there, he must have been delighted with that, and because he probably knows what an achievement it is to do that.
Yeah, and in terms of back on the atmosphere, just I want to touch on the atmosphere again. Again, a lot of, I didn't know if it was going to come in the home game, particularly a game that we were winning, but a lot of songs about the ownership last night once again, and even after the game, where they all celebrate stuff like that. A lot of Levy out chants and the Kulusevski one again. So it doesn't look like it's going away this time.
Well, as long as we're 10th, I'm sure they'll stay.
But you get qualify into the semi-final of a cup.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably expect most of the songs just to be about the team, and Spurs are on their way to Wembley and all this kind of stuff, which we were there. But it was also sprinkled in with a lot of Levy out and the Kulusevski one. I don't care about Levy and all that kind of stuff. So
it's a catchy song.
It is a very catchy song, but We Want Levy Out is not the catchiest of songs, and that was being sung as well, quite loud.
Look, keep putting the pressure on the board. I got no problem with it. I'm just saying, in a few weeks' time, look, if we win the cup, are they going to sing it at a final once we've won a cup? I don't know. Like, are they? Should they? Or is that necessary? Even if you are pushing that to do it, maybe not. Maybe that doesn't matter. Again, once we've turned our form around, we're climbing the table, and we're still in these cup competitions. Will the pressure keep being on the board?
I hope so. I hope so, because I think it's gathered a bit of momentum now. I think a lot of kind of people that never even thought about it before, or was just completely against kind of voicing their concerns, or didn't even have concerns. I feel like a lot of people have jumped on right now. So let's see how it progresses. But in terms of the semi-final, Arsenal, Newcastle, Tottenham, Liverpool, first leg at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, second leg at Anfield in February. Long gap in between the 2 games, which could be a good thing for Spurs. Could be a bad thing, because Liverpool will also get some players back. But
at the moment, they only got 2 injuries. So,
I was thinking, who's injured? Konate
and Bradley.
Bradley. So maybe they can get a few more injuries. I don't wish injuries on anyone, but
of course not.
You're looking at the tie. Is probably the tie that I would have least liked, to be honest. But if you're going to win the tournament, you have to beat everyone, and we've dispatched of Manchester City, we've dispatched of Manchester United. Can we go and dispatch of Liverpool in the semi-final?
I think we've got more of a chance than people give us credit for, only because, for me, I was saying before, John was saying before, who would you most like in that semi-final? And I actually said Liverpool, and the reason being is, I think this is, look, for me, I think all the options are very, very difficult. I don't think there's a good option in there. I don't think there's an option like we have to get them and we're plain sailing. But for me, Liverpool, I think, it's not a priority for them as competition.
Yeah.
I think they're top of the league. They're in a title race, right? Then if they've got a game in the league, they're going to be resting players in the semi-final. I don't think they care how big this cup competition is for the fans. If they've got a chance to like extend the lead or something in a league game, they will rest players in that semi-final for that league game. They're going for a league title. They're the front runners at the moment. That's where their priority is. I don't know if they've got Champions League games in and around that as well. I know they're through it already anyway.
No, they don't.
Maybe no Champions League, but still, this is the bottom of the list for priorities for them. So I do think there's a good chance they do rest a few players in this game for league fixtures and maybe don't put the energy there. And as well,
the problem is, Sim, is that the game after the Carabao Cup semi-final was the third round of the FA Cup.
that's the first leg.
The first leg. So
Yeah.
we play Tamworth, they play Accrington Stanley. So
maybe they won't. But maybe
the
they
game
won't
before the first leg, they've got Manchester United at Anfield. So that's a big game for them. In the second leg, they play Bournemouth away before us, and after us, they play Wolves at home, and then Man City away. So they actually go into a difficult run after they play us in the second leg.
The big problem with the how it's panned out is the fact that we're away from home second leg is not great. That's definitely not good because even if we win like 2 goals in the first leg, are you confident we can hold that out in the second leg? Maybe not, but that's a different scenario. But Liverpool are a team. Well, I guess we'll see on Sunday how we can match up with them. Albeit again, we have injuries and they're going to be full strength, so it might not be the best litmus test. But obviously, it'll be a bit of a indicator of how we
Dress
can fare
rehearsal,
each other.
mate.
Yeah. Liverpool, definitely in recent weeks, are a team who've been leaking goals. I think that's fair to say. 3 against Newcastle, 2 against Fulham. They conceded a goal against Southampton in midweek, without a manager. It wasn't that long ago they conceded 2 at St Mary's as well, winning 3-2. So they're a team that can be got at, albeit I still think they do have the best defence in the league, I think, statistically. Or maybe it's Arsenal, or they're very close. Recent weeks, they've been leaking a lot more goals than before. So I definitely think that they're a team that give up chances, especially in a cup game. I don't think there's going to be any sort of pragmatism about them. They're going to go for it. And I think when I look at Newcastle and Arsenal compared to Liverpool, I think Liverpool might give us the most chances out of all those 3 teams. I think Newcastle, when they sharp shop, they can be quite good. We saw that when they played Arsenal at the St James's and a few other games as well. And Arsenal, we know they're the best team in the league at the moment at shutting up shop and making sure they don't concede chances. And they're the team I would actually think would struggle against the most in that 3. So the fact that it's not a priority for them and the fact that they do give up chances, I actually think we might have a decent chance of the 3 against them. Because I know Newcastle, coming up against them, they're just as desperate for a trophy as we are. They're going to be completely on it. They're going to be completely on their game. This is so important to them to get through that semi-final, and so I actually wouldn't get over 2 legs. That could be a 50-50. That one, I guess. I mean, it's going to be less than 50-50, but I think Newcastle are going to be just as on it. I think, in my opinion, as we are up for it. They're going to play their first team. It's going to be so important for them. Arsenal, for me, at the moment, judging by how we've played against them the last couple of times, it's going to be very hard to score goals against them. And if they get a couple of goals, can we kind of overturn that? I don't know. Liverpool, I don't know. I just got a good feeling about it. I feel like if they don't take it as seriously, if they rest a few players, maybe we can catch them on an off day. I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about in terms of motivations, out of the 4 teams that are left in it, they've probably got the least motivation. I mean, they won it last year. They're top of the league right now. They're going really well in the Champions League. FA Cup still to come as well. So I think you're right in terms of motivations, but when you're talking about in terms of quality, they are
but that can make
the
a
best
difference.
teams. Yeah, no, you're right. And you look at the game against Southampton, they played 2 kids in the middle of the park. Are they going to do that against
I
us?
watched that game against Hampton. I know they were 2-0 up in the first half, but second half they nearly gave it away, and they were very.
They had
close
2
to
kids
giving
in the
it
middle
away.
of the park. Like, will they play that against us, though?
I don't know. Yeah, look, I guess my point is there's more chance of them doing it than Newcastle or Arsenal. I guess.
I mean, all 4 of these clubs have their own kind of motivations, don't they, coming into this last round? Like Arsenal, Arteta's had the questions about trophies since he's got there. Obviously, he won the FA Cup in his first year, but since then, nothing's come through the door for Arsenal in terms of silverware. So, the questions are starting to slowly mount up on Arteta about winning silverware. So there's that for them. Newcastle obviously haven't won anything since like the 40s or the 50s or something 51. Like that. Spurs obviously haven't won a cup since 2008. And Liverpool, the first year of Arne Slot, he probably wants to start off early and get the first trophy through the door as well. So everyone's coming into it with their own motivations. It's going to be a good
story, whoever wins it.
Exactly. And let's say, for argument's sake, we can and we do beat Liverpool. The prospect of a North London Derby Cup final, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that, man. I seriously don't know if I'll be able to handle that. That'll be way too much.
And funny enough, I actually think Newcastle might be one of the better teams to play in terms of they could face in the semi-final, because they've beaten them a couple of times at St James's Park in recent years.
Yeah,
and they might feel like. There's one of those teams where they're quite good in transition, quite good on the counter, and when they do decide to sit deep, they can be quite effective there. So, could Newcastle have a chance against Arsenal over 2 legs? I think it's going to be a tight game.
Of course they do. I think each team in their own right has a chance in the semi-finals. Mm-hmm. I think on paper you'll probably say that Spurs have the least chance right now to go to the final.
Yeah.
Out of everyone, but look, it's a semi-final. You never know what can happen, and. It's a monstrous lineup, though, isn't it, for a semi-final of Carabao Cup?
Yeah, absolutely, massive.
So and also if Spurs play Newcastle in the final, God, it's just going to come down to desperation. Who wants it more?
What's called the trophyless playoff?
The Trophy Drought Derby.
El Trophico.
El Trophyless But yeah, that is the match review for the 4-3 win against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup quarter-final last night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's just get into a couple of super chats just before we move on. Chang Ching Seong, big up to Chang, says, couldn't have been prouder and equally humbled by my pre-match pump-up debut yesterday evening with Senor Garcia, Mr. Bobby Kang and Mr. Brian Daigle. Come on, you sirs. Big up, Chang.
Big up. Did
Love
a
you, bro.
job on the pump-up.
Always. Well, not always, because it's his first time in, but love to have you on there a lot more, that's for sure. Dark Sun G says, come on, you Spurs, really happy we have Dom in our team. Son goal was a masterpiece. We faced Liverpool 2 times at home within 2 weeks. Really miss Big Vic. And yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's 2 weeks. That's actually coming up so soon, isn't it, that semi-final?
6th of Jan. 8th of Jan. So, what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
3 weeks. So we play, it's just after the Newcastle game.
Yeah, and we'll have Bentancur back after Liverpool.
Yeah, this is his last game.
Last
suspended,
game.
All right. Let's move on to our player ratings, and we're going to start off with big Fraser Forster. Sim gives him a 2. I gave him a 3. I did give him a 2, but the only reason I gave him a 3 is because I actually thought he made some pretty good saves in the first half and also in the second half as well. Obviously, he did his best to try and give the game back to Manchester United and let them back in the game, which they did get let back in the game, and it was 2 horrific errors. Let's get real. I mean, it was like one after the next. It just got from bad to worse. The first one was bad, and then the second one was just absolutely horrific. So his first bad game, probably since coming into the team since Vicario's injury. But it was horrific.
I gave him a 2 because of that save, literally. But I think without that save, he probably doesn't even get a 2. So. Terrible mistakes from Fraser, and I think he'll know it. He clearly looked very disappointed after the game, and it wasn't his greatest game, of course. He was a horrific performance. Those mistakes are inexcusable. I think he'll know that. Hopefully, Ange, can try and work on why that happened and try and get him to play the ball quicker. Terrible mistakes, but I can't give him any more than 2 because I even think on the third goal he could have done better as well. So I think all 3 goals he should have not conceded because of Fraser. So terrible day for him. And but look, he did make 1 good save, so it doesn't get a 1.
Pedro Porro up next. 6s all round for Pedro. I felt like he just kept leaving loads of gaps behind him. To be fair to Pedro, though, I thought this was probably his best display in recent weeks. I think he's been that bad. I felt on the ball, he was growing in influence as the game wore on, and obviously it was his shot that got parried out for one of our goals as well. So I thought it was a lot better for Pedro. To be fair, still think the frailties were there defensively, but on the ball, he was getting back to it.
See, I'm the opposite. I actually thought defensively he was good.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought on the ball he was a bit sloppy. I thought he kept giving the ball away. He wasn't making right decisions, I thought, a lot of the time.
Do you not think, though, like as the game progressed, he was growing in influence on the ball?
I thought second half he was much better. I thought first half, his passing wasn't good at all. I thought he kept giving it away really sloppily. He did have that shot, though, which was good. But
that was just Spurs in the first half, wasn't it? We couldn't make 2 passes.
Maybe. I looked at his passing accuracy. It was 61%, which is ridiculously
low. That's really low, yeah.
I think defensively, actually, he had a lot to contend with. And I actually think he dealt with it quite well. He had Dalot continuously on that left-hand side there. He had Bruno inside as well, kind of buzzing around. And he had to deal with 2 players. Decky wasn't really mucking in a lot in that first half, especially. And he had to basically make a lot of tackles, make sure he's getting that front foot in and being quite solid. I actually thought he didn't get beaten too many times down that right-hand side, and considering pretty much that whole time he was there, he had 2 players to contend with. He actually did all right. Especially second half, I thought when Garnacho came on, he dealt with Garnacho really well. Garnacho barely had a sniff, so I thought fair play to Porro on that occasion. But again, it's classic Tottenham problem with wing backs. We don't know how to defend against it. We don't know whether Porro's guy is the wing back or is it the forward, and that's been continually a problem. And if Man United had a wing back who could attack, we'd have been in a lot more trouble. Thankfully, Dalot's not great in the final third.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying before the game. Because I wasn't worried about Dalot in the final third because he's just not that great at attacking, and I think it showed. But if it was like a Kirkes or a Robinson, I think we would have been in more trouble yesterday.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I just felt like he just kept leaving just too much space on that side.
But that's my point. He had no choice.
Yeah.
Either he gets Porro or Dalot.
Yeah, it's a fair point. But let's move on to Radu Dragusin. 7s all round for us. Another player who's playing really consistently well at the moment. I felt he was a leader at the back. How many times did he make a clearance yesterday? I don't know the numbers, but it seemed like every time it got back there, he was just there to bat it away. Really combative display, and he did everything really calm and measured. And we mentioned it in the preview to the game, but he's really coming on now with the more game time he's getting.
Yeah, it's doing in the world of good. You can see that, because before then he was kind of struggling for consistency and rhythm, and that's quite important for a centre-back, and I think he's really got that at the moment, the way he's playing. And I thought he dealt with Højlund exceptionally well. Højlund couldn't really get any joy out of him. Anything that came into the area, he was clearing. He made a really crucial clearance right at the end of the game as well, to make sure Man United weren't getting any sort of advantage when the ball was pumped into the area. I thought he was physically dominant, really growing into that role as well. Yeah, I mean, maybe a 7's, maybe because we conceded 3 goals. And maybe as well, in my mind, that first goal, I know Forster makes a mistake, but I don't know, is Dragusin in the right position? Could he have manoeuvred for that goal? I mean, it's harsh to put any blame on him for that, but yeah, I thought he was brilliant. Maybe on the ball as well. Again, I'm still not seeing what we see in our other centre-backs maybe on the ball from Radu, but defensively, I can have no complaints because he's doing a brilliant job.
Yeah, and his partner Archie Gray, we're going to give 7s to as well. 18-year-old stepping in at centre-back, unnatural position, and he's flying. He really is at the moment, and he's forming a really nice partnership now with Radu Dragusin. How many important tackles and interceptions did he make yesterday? Quite a number of them, and he seems to be flourishing in this role, and he's so versatile, can fill in so many different areas, whether it be full-back, centre midfield, centre-back, and any role that he's asked to play, he seems to just accept the challenge and do it quite comfortably. So I can't praise Archie Gray enough for the way he's coming into the team and just seamlessly kind of fitting in. The only one little gripe, which I'm not going to put him down too much, is passing it back to Fraser Forster at that time, but that does not account for Fraser Forster doing what Fraser Forster did. Yes, Archie didn't need to play it back, but it's not exactly his fault for the reason why we conceded the goal. So yeah, good performance from Archie and a 7.
Yeah, I thought, again, another really solid display. There was one point he actually did lose his man, and if you watch back the Xerxes chance, the header which Forster saved, it was Archie's man, and he did let him go. But apart from that, I thought throughout, Højlund couldn't really get the better of him, and especially Højlund being a big physical striker, who's you expect him to look at Archie going, I'm going to bully this guy. It's almost as if Archie, it's a bit like similar to Ben Davies, where his physical attributes, he's not going to be bullying anyone, but because he's got brilliant kind of timing of tackles and brilliant positional sense, that's what really gets him out of trouble a lot of the way. He's such a clever player, and that's what sets him apart. It's his mind. It's not his physical attributes. And on the ball as well, there's a number of times where we're being pressed in the corner, and he's taking the ball under pressure. He's playing little triangles out of trouble, and it's absolutely delighted to see. He's not scared to play the ball in really difficult scenarios, and that comes with his composure, and that's one of his biggest attributes. I thought another really solid showing. Him and Dragoshin are really doing the Lord's work over the past 3 games, because imagine like a Winks or a Skip having to fill in there. Like, would they be able to do what Archie's doing right now? I just don't know. I've got no confidence they would.
Definitely not.
Archie's doing absolutely brilliant at the moment, and considering we've got 3 centre backs out and they're having to fill in every game at the moment, they're doing a brilliant job.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move. And like we said, unbeaten. Since they've come in. Rangers, Southampton, and now Manchester United, and we haven't lost a game since we've had these 2 at centre-back pairings. So, unbelievable job that these guys are doing for the team. It really is. Let's move on to Jed Spence. 8s all round for Jed. What another top display from him, this time at left-back. 2 top displays in a row, which makes you think, why the hell have we not called on him earlier in the season when we've seen our fullbacks flagging a little bit. Look, he was always an option on that left-hand side, wasn't he? Going forward, even defensively, I thought he did such a good job, and an unbelievable assist. That ball in behind to Dom Solanke, well, not in behind to find Dom Solanke, was of the highest category. So 2 assists, 2 games, 2 starts. Long may it continue for Jed. And also when he got taken off, he got an absolute hero's ovation walking around that stadium, the whole stadium getting to their feet and giving him a massive round of applause. So big up to Spence, because he deserved that.
Fantastic again from Spence. He's going from strength to strength, it seems. And I think on that left-hand side as well, obviously he had Mazraoui down that side giving him a bit of trouble, and he dealt with him really well. And actually on the ball, what I love about him, he's so positive. He always looks forward. He always looks for opportunities to drive into space, and he did that a few times yesterday. And I think what I really like about him as well is when we're playing short and we're penned into a corner, he's not scared as well to try and play his way out of it. He's not just booing it forward, safety first. He's trying to find little ways to break their press and set us back on the front foot. And Spence was one of the only ones who was actually doing that quite effectively yesterday. The other players were giving it away too easily, and he was doing a great job. Again, on the left-hand side, where I do think, even on yesterday's evidence, he's less comfortable there than he is on the right, but he's doing a great job on that left-hand side, and I think he's really contributing to the team. Obviously got involved in the second goal, where he plays the ball out wide to Son quite quickly, and which sets us up on a chance. Involved in the third goal with a brilliant assist through to Solanke. Brilliant weight and brilliant timing of the pass as well to get it through to him. I don't think Udogie would have played that pass if he was playing. It was a pass that a midfielder would have been proud of. So brilliant there from Spence, and he just works so hard for the team as well. And that fresh energy and that physicality and that pace that he has, it's really adding a lot to the team right now. I would say once Ahmad came on, he had a bit more of a struggle than maybe Anthony. Anthony kind of gave him a bit of a free ride in that game, and once Ahmad came on, it was a bit of a different kettle of fish. But I think overall, brilliant performance.
Yeah, I was just trying to think, like, how long was he on the pitch? Oh, he went off on the 91st minute, and when did Diallo came on?
He came on, 60 something?
Yeah, fair play. Well, he came on 55 actually, but yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But let's move on to Yves Bissouma. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. I thought for 70 minutes it was an absolutely top display from Bissouma. Defensively, I mean, I was sitting there behind the goal and I was thinking, how many times is Bissouma going to block a shot? It was unbelievable. Every time Man United were looking threatening and they take a shot, Bissouma was there every single time to block it. I thought it was a brilliant display, combative in the middle of the park, going forward as well, showing off his dribbling ability, which we haven't seen in quite a while for Yves Bissouma. And look, sheer work rate, and he needed to respond in this manner because he hasn't been great over the last 3 or 4 games, and he's come in with a bit of a rest because of the suspension, and he's put in a really top display in my opinion. I do feel like in the last 20 minutes, you know, nearly scored that own goal, maybe could have done a bit better from the corner as well, that we did concede. So there were a couple of iffy moments in there in the last 20 minutes, but I thought for 70 minutes it was a really top display.
I thought it might have been the best display of the season, that first 70. He was incredible, I thought. On the ball as well, looked so much more confident. He was gliding past players. His passing was crisp and it was effective into feet and making the right decision. I thought he was dribbling as well. The Man United midfielders couldn't get near him. I thought it was a big reason why we're able to get into their half consistently and create openings. And I thought his aggressive nature in the centre, which I think sometimes is lacking in his game, where he's not too much proactive defensively, looking to nick the ball in. Sometimes he's a bit too reactive. And I thought yesterday, very much a proactive approach from Yves Bissouma, getting in the faces of Ugarte and Eriksen, winning the ball back in really good spots. And that was really, really good stuff from him. I think he had, he made like 6 tackles during the game, which is incredible number for someone like Bissouma. I think maybe that game, he had a suspension. I think that break probably did him good. He looked 100%. A lot fresher in this game, and I think it did him the world of good having that one game off. Last 20 minutes, like Spurs, obviously we were under pressure. I think, again, he actually made a lot of good tackles, but he didn't nearly score that own goal with a terrible touch in the box. The corner didn't show himself in great light. But I thought overall, probably for that 70 minutes, his best display of the season. He was absolutely phenomenal. That's the kind of Bissouma where if we get that Bissouma every game, would be brilliant in that. It would have no problem with him being our 6. The problem is we don't get that Bissouma every game, but he was, I thought, phenomenal in that.
Positive as well that this weekend is the last for Bentancur's ban.
Yeah.
So the workload is going to be shared a lot more after this weekend. Let's move on to Pape. Sib gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. I mean, bundle of energy this guy was. And I felt like him and Bissouma together did such great work for the team in the middle of the park. He hassled, he harried, he didn't give anyone a moment's rest on the ball. And I thought he played such a pivotal role in that win yesterday, particularly in the moments when we were on top. Like, he just kept gathering the ball, kept running at players, kept putting players under pressure. And I thought off the ball, he was sensational.
Yeah, I think he wasn't as good as Bissouma, I don't think. I think he did well. I think he gives those intangibles where he obviously was helping a lot with the midfield and with the wing backs flying forward. He was getting back in position. Obviously, he did get booked in the game as well. I think on the ball, he was a bit better than he was off the ball. I thought off the ball he could have done a bit more, actually. But on the ball, he made some really good passes in the final third and set up a few chances. Actually, his ability to nick the ball in the middle of the park did set us up for some really good opportunities. But don't think he was maybe as involved or as good as he was maybe in the Southampton game, but it's still a pretty good performance from Pape.
James Maddison, Sim gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. To be honest, I did expect a bit more from James Maddison on the back of the performance he had at Southampton. I was kind of saying before the game, I think I was saying it to someone that if James Maddison plays well, Spurs usually play well. And I think he played okay. I don't think he was amazing by any stretch of the imagination. I expected more from him creatively. I don't think he made a key pass throughout the game. However, he did put in the cross for, was it Decky's goal?
Yeah,
and really good movement and really good ball into the dangerous area. But look, he was buzzing around and he was busy throughout the game, but I just feel like the moments of quality were missing a little bit.
I think, it wasn't his best game by any stretch, but I actually still think he provided quite well for the team. He was picking up really good fouls when we needed him to relieve the pressure. And obviously, one of the fouls he picked up was the one that led to the opening goal. He was obviously his movement led to the second goal. Really good movement on the byline, getting beyond Mazraoui and his cross, causing chaos, which led to Decky scoring. He played one beautiful pass. I remember that first half in the middle from the left-hand side, right into Porro's path in the centre, which really opened up the game. But Porro didn't do enough with it, and I thought that was a really beautiful moment as well. I thought he linked up okay with Sonny at times on that left-hand side, but I think they both of them didn't make the most of a lot of the opportunities they had. But yeah, I think, again, it wasn't one of the... Sometimes when he doesn't score an assist, people look at him and then think, oh, what's he done? But I think he still provided well for the team.
Next up is Dejan Kulusevski. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. And his goal made it 4 goals in his last 4 games for Decky. And we've been saying this about Kulusevski, right? Unbelievable season. But we know he's got it in his locker to provide the goal contributions as often he's doing it now. And it's great to see him do that. It really is. Getting himself in dangerous areas, poacher's effort to put it in the back of the net, right place, right time, timing and positional sense, really, really good from Kulusevski. But he was in the Decky zone yesterday, wasn't he? He was so aggressive. He was buying fouls. They didn't know how to deal with him. He was being so aggressive. I just loved his performance yesterday. I would have said maybe he has had better performances performances this season, but that one's right up there as well.
Yeah, another game where he started on the right-hand side and still contributing. But again, I don't know whether Ange is giving him a license just because he's Decky, or Decky's taking it upon himself. But when he plays on that right-hand side in the last few weeks, he's definitely coming a lot more central. And that goal carbon copied the position he was in Southampton. Again, something that I've been on Decky to do more when he's on that right-hand side is get into the box when there's a cross coming in. And last 2 games he's done that, and he's got goals from it. And also the goal he scored, that's not easy. I know it comes to him quickly. I know it's not far from goal, but on his right foot, he has to get it into the corner when it comes to him very, very quickly. And it's a really good finish as well from Decky. So fair play to him, because I think the goal is easier. It looks easy. He makes it look easier than it is, I think, to score that chance. I thought he was giving Dalot so much trouble. I don't think Dalot could handle him on that side. I thought Lissandro Martinez as well was really, really struggling up against him when he got opportunity. I thought he was so physical. I thought in that first half, he was also our biggest creative spark. The way he turned, I can't remember who it was, he turned someone in the box. Son gives the ball into him. He just turns him inside the box to create a yard of space and force a really good save out Bayinda. He nearly forced an own goal out of Ugarte as well with a really good ball across the face to goal. I just thought the whole game, he was giving Man United so much trouble, and they really didn't know what to do with him. And it's good, again, you know, that's him playing on the right-hand side, on the wing, and showing, again, he can still perform that role to quite a good level. And as you say, 4 goals in 4 games now, and those goal contributions are starting to get a lot more regular. That's what, I don't know if you watched his interview before the game. He did an interview with Sky pre-match, 14-minute interview, and he was saying, my shooting, I need to work on getting more goal contributions and long shots as well, shooting from outside the box, he said. And once I've got that in my locker, like, completely like a second nature, there's nothing stopping me. And
he's going to go into further beast mode.
Exactly. And look, we know he's capable of it on the odd occasion, those great goals. But once he because we know he can just get himself in those positions at will because of his physicality. And once he gets in some of those positions, and just there's nothing stopping that quality, then he's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. What a season he's having, Dejan Kulusevski, and now really starting to add those goal contributions on a regularity and even get the goals. 4 goals in his last 4 games is absolutely brilliant for him. So long may it continue. Next up is Son Heung-min. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. I felt like he had something in him yesterday where he just like, this team ain't losing. He had that kind of mentality about him. I felt like he kept geeing up all his players around him and giving words of wisdom for all the players around him as well. And he kept hovering around that Sonny zone where we know he can be really dangerous yesterday. His positional sense was brilliant. He kept trying to force the issue, and came up with a real clutch moment with that corner. Whether he meant it or not, it's a clutch moment nevertheless. And look, if you put it in a dangerous area, you're always going to ask the question of the goalkeeper to either make the save or whatever. So he probably gets a mark or 2 up just for that, because it just came at such an unbelievable time of need for us, for Sonny. So the captain Marvel stands up when the team needs them most. And I don't know if you saw after the game, he was in conversation with Archie Gray. Looked like some words of wisdom were being said.
Yeah, true. And maybe you're saying, Archie, why are you passing it back? And obviously that's the leadership ability. I remember I was thinking with John yesterday. He was saying, we conceded 2 goals. He's like, this is why, Son's not a good captain, because look, where's the leadership? What's he saying? I'm like, we're not there. I don't know what he's saying to the team. I'm not. The camera's not on Son there all the time. Like,
but I thought he was doing that, though.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. That's my point. Like, when you're watching it on TV, you don't see what's going on in the game, how he's talking to players, all that kind of stuff. That's all stuff you need to be at the game to see. And it's easy to criticise from the couch when you don't see everything that's going on. And I think he always shows a lot of leadership ability, Son Heung-min. Obviously, the corner, whatever you want to say about whether he meant it or not, it's a brilliant delivery either way, right on the money. And it meant that either it gets a touch by Inder's scrambling, or if everyone misses it, it goes all the way in. And that's because of a brilliant delivery from Son. And we know he's got that enemy. He's got that whip on him on that delivery. I thought he was a danger throughout, to be fair, albeit could have done a lot better with some of the positions he took up. But I thought Mazraoui was never comfortable against him. Involved in the first goal, laid it off for Porro, who had the shot and obviously led to Slanky. Involved in the second goal with brilliant link-up play with Maddison on the left-hand side. And obviously his run, it was a good ball from Spence in behind, and his run led to the corner, which led to the goal. So I think throughout, Man United can never be comfortable around him. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with some of the positions he took up. He didn't do a bit more, but still really positive display from Sonny.
And last but not least,
also I think what was that, 3 games in a row he scored? Chelsea.
3 games in a row, yeah.
This one and
We didn't score against
Southampton.
Rangers.
Okay, Rangers. Well, 3 against Premier League opposition.
3 domestic games in a row.
3 domestic games he scored in a row. You know, everyone's saying he's on poor form.
Yeah, 3 in his last 4. So brilliant stuff for Sonny. Let's move on to Big Dom Solanke. 9s all round for Big Dom, and he was my man the match yesterday. I felt like he did the most incredible work for the team yesterday. His work rate is second to none. The way he drops deep, his link-up play, his hold-up play, his little touches and passes in the midfield to set the team up on attack, his work rate to get on the other end of the pitch and to put the ball in the back of the net. The first finish was an incredible finish, an understated finish. Yes, the keeper's parried it out to him, but he gambles on it. He beats the trap and he sticks it in the back of the net in terms of kissing the post and putting it in. The second goal, he picks up on Spence's pass, commits the defender, and it's the first time we've seen him score a goal like that in a Spurs shirt, and it's a brilliant goal of the highest degree. But this guy's work rate and his quality is absolutely brilliant. And I think the last couple of games as well, he hasn't been completely at it that we've seen for the majority of the season. But yesterday was bang up there, was probably one of his best displays in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, I think overall as well, just brilliant forward play. So often we give him the ball in situations where I think a lot of other, especially look at the striker on the opposition team, the amount of times that he got the ball into feet and gave it away because he wasn't strong enough and he wasn't able to hold it up and he wasn't able to bring other players into play. Whereas you look at Solanke, he drops deep, he holds off 3 defenders and pops it off to a Spurs player, and all of a sudden it sets us up on an attack. That's exactly where the second goal came from. The ball played into him into feet. He's got like 2 defenders around him. He holds them off, quickly pops off to Spence, and because Spence was able to get out wide to Sonny very quickly, all of a sudden it meant those 2 defenders who were on Solanke had to track back very quickly to get back in position. Maybe that's why that caused the chaos, because they're scrambling to get back, and all of a sudden the ball comes in and the clearance is poor, because that all comes from Solanke. Brilliant forward play. The first goal, brilliant forward play again. Anticipation, sniffing out chances where's the ball going to drop, keeping himself onside, and an excellent finish as well. Getting them once the ball falls to him. That's not an easy finish. Tight angle. The keeper's now set again, and he hits it in off the post. Excellent finish. The second goal, brilliant individual work from him. Something that we haven't seen enough from Solanke, the ability to get on the ball, make it hard for yourself and just get that shot off and bury it. And I thought he did a brilliant job of that yesterday. Also the ability to run in behind and stretch the Man United defence to make him think that he's not always going to get drawn towards the ball. He can also run beyond you. He can use his pace to trouble you in that way as well. That's also something I think Solanke needs to do more, because he's so physical and he's quicker than he looks. I think he doesn't use his pace enough, but he can get away from defenders. He's not slow. So he used his physicality brilliantly there, and I thought it was a brilliant, in terms of a number 9 performance, that was exceptional stuff from Solanke, a brilliant striker's performance. And we know I think he's been brilliant since he's come here, but obviously we want him to score more goals like that, and once he does that, people will see him as one of the best strikers in the league.
You know what though, like, I agree with you what you're saying, like a brilliant number 9 performance, but it was so much more than that as well, wasn't it? He provides so much more than just like what that classic number 9 provides. I mean, he drops deep. He's basically playing in the middle of the park for the majority of it as well.
Incorporating a brilliant number 9's performance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I guess. But, I feel like when you're looking at number 9s in the Premier League, there's not many that do what Dom Solanke does. That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. So, like, when you're talking about a classic number 9 isn't always like spending the majority of his time in the middle of the park where he's doing, and how physical he is and how hard it is for him to get the ball off him, and how much he wins the ball in those areas as well.
And what's great about him as well is, as you saw, like, he doesn't touch the ball that often. He only made 15 passes yesterday, but he's really maybe he touched it more at Bournemouth, I don't know, but he's really starting to get to grips with the fact that when he gets the ball, he has to make the most of it, because a lot of the time he's in and out of the game. But yesterday he was so effective with the little touches he had, the little amount he had, and that's a real impressive trait of his. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, every time he got the ball, he used it with quality, 100%. Bergvall is the only sub that we're going to rate. You've given him a 6 all round. I mean, he came on with 10 minutes to go, including the 6 minutes of stoppage time, and I just felt he added extra energy to the middle of the park. He
just likes ruffling feathers, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I mean, obviously the goalkeeper, he had a slight arm on him, let's just say that, and Look, he just added a presence and some energy in the middle of the park. I don't think there was too much signs of quality that we saw in the last couple of games from him. But, yeah, it just adds to positive impacts.
Yeah, and again, he came on and got, I think we're going to start calling it now his customary booking, because he seems to get booked a lot.
Yeah.
And he, again, had a little bit of a thing with Bruno. Bruno came in and I think, like, put a bit of shoulder to him, and he went down, and a bit of an argy-bargy there. I think he just came on and made himself a nuisance, added a bit of energy. I don't think he did anything exceptional, but kept things simple. And look, what I like about him is he comes on and he just makes himself known that he's there. You know, he's on the pitch, and he doesn't waste his time on the pitch. And I like that. And he has that bit of shithousery. He winds people up. And I think it made a positive impact. So fair play to Lucas again.
And last but not least, big Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. After a really, hard moment as a Spurs manager from the Spurs fans as well, it feels like he is kind of hopefully coming through the other end now. Look, I don't want to speak too soon because we've got we've got difficult games to come, and we've obviously got the semi-final to come.
But don't you feel like even if we lose those games, the feeling won't be as bad as maybe, like, I guess it depends how we lose, but won't be as bad as maybe it was against Bournemouth?
I hope so. But I feel like the way he's managing the team right now with the injuries that we do have and getting us over the line, a draw away at Rangers, whatever you want to say about the performance and whatever you want to say about the context of the group, a draw away at Rangers ain't bad.
I think the context of the group is good.
Yeah. But in terms of the quality of the team, should I say, 11 on 11, our 11 against their 11, no matter how many injuries we have, we should have won that game. But in the context of the group and everything else added to it with the atmosphere and how good Rangers are at home, and particularly in Europe, a draws are probably a good result. 5-0 away at Southampton, an absolute battering. If you batter anyone like that in the Premier League, no matter if they're the worst Premier League team in the world, it's still a good result. And now this game, going into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup against the Manchester United side, with these 10 injuries, I think you've got to say, since that period, he's managing the team pretty well over the past week or two. So I got to give him a lot of credit, because I've given him a lot of criticism over the past couple of weeks. I think he managed the game really well. Yeah, I thought maybe changes probably could have happened earlier in that second half when Spurs were coming under the cosh, but we only came under the cosh yesterday because of crazy individual errors from Fraser Forster yesterday. That's what put us under pressure. And Ange can't account to that. So I felt like
changes could you have Bergvall and Johnson, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, we could have put in a few school kids,
Really?
I'm joking. But look, no, I can't fault Ange Postecoglou for the past week or two.
He brought Reguilon.
We didn't even mention that. Sergio Reguilon. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Reguilon
last
from
game
the dead.
was April 2022.
It's madness. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
That must be the longest ever a player has played and then not played and then made another appearance for Tottenham. The longest gap. I wonder if anyone. Can you think of anyone who's made a bigger? Maybe Bale, probably. But
Spence?
I can't. Spence. Maybe Spence. No, because Reguilon was before then.
Was it before then?
Yeah, Reguilon was before then.
Yeah, I can't think. Yeah, Bale's probably one,
Probably
but Bale actually left the club. Reguilon was always on the books.
Anyone in the chat? I can't think of anyone. But yeah, incredible. Reguilon came on for 5 minutes?
Yeah. But look, regardless, I think all the criticism I've given to Ange Postecoglou, I think are warranted and were warranted. But you also got to give praise when it's due, and I think he definitely deserves the praise right now.
Yeah, mustering up a performance with the options that we have, with the defence we got out there, and the fact that we're playing, the same players at the moment because of the injuries, and they're all out on their feet. To get that level of performance out of them in a big quarter-final where everyone was saying this is the biggest game of the season, everyone was saying, we need a trophy. Everyone knew the importance of this game, and against a club, yes, I don't care. United rested a few players as well. They still had a good team out there under a good manager in Almiron. It was never going to be easy. And the fact that we got the win over the line, we were 3-0 up, and we should never have let them back in the game. And I don't think it was any fault of Ange that we did. I think it was a brilliant management from him, and I think he deserves so much praise for getting a performance. How many teams could get a performance like that out of their team against a team like United with the injuries that we have? I mean, I think it deserves more praise, to be honest, because imagine a team missing their first choice goalkeeper, their 3 first choice centre backs as well, their left back missing as well. Players of the level of Bentancur also missing. So many important players missing, yet we managed to muster up a performance being 3-0 up, inside 55 minutes. I think is absolutely brilliant, and I think we just need to give this project more time. I think we can see when things are clicking, we're very, very hard to stop. And once we get our players back, I think we're going to be even harder to stop. And I'm not saying we're going to win every game once all our players are back. I'm sure we'll have losses there as well, but I think we can clearly see where this team is going, and I think it's in a positive direction, despite the fact that the form over the calendar year hasn't been good enough. I still think I see enough from this team to suggest that Ange can take this team in the right direction. And look, I'm delighted with the win yesterday. I think Ange deserves a lot of credit for it.
Yeah, and we just need to keep going now. We need to keep going. And Ange always wins something in his second year.
Exactly.
So we're in a semi-final now. First time since, we lost to Man City in the final. Is that the last time we were in a semi-final?
Yeah.
Back in COVID times.
I'm trying to think.
2021?
No. The season after that, we lost to Chelsea in a semi-final.
So that was 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
That was, we played. And again, that was a semi-final. We played terribly in it, and Conte was ours because we have injuries. That's why we're playing bad. And look, I guess we've used it as an excuse for us as well recently, but we didn't yesterday. That's the main thing.
The thing is, when we lose, I know Ange has mentioned it, but he never uses it as an excuse. Whereas all the other managers, like the Contes, the Mourinhos and stuff, always did use it as an excuse. And I kind of like that about him.
Mourinho famously said, "I got a gun with no bullets."
Yeah, do you remember when we lost to Leipzig in the Champions League with Mourinho? And after that game, he was like, "What do you expect me to do? I got no players."
Yeah.
And we probably got more injuries now than we had then.
I think so.
So, look, that is our player ratings from the 4-3 win in the quarter-final against Manchester United. Let's get into a couple of super chats just before we move on. Dark Sun G says, Spence has played 3 games for us this season, 1 goal, 2 assists. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, wow. What a ratio for Jed Spence.
Yeah, and that one game he played the goal. I mean, he only played about, 10 minutes that day?
What, the commentary game?
Yeah, didn't he come on?
No, he came on half-time.
I was at half-time. Dark Sun G again with the super chat saying we are 4-4 versus both Manchester teams this season and 5 games unbeaten versus Man United, 3 wins and 2 draws. Now I hope we can go 2 home wins in a row against Liverpool. We own Manchester. We absolutely own Manchester this season.
Home and away.
7 goals against Man United this season, home and away, 1 in the cup. And how many goals? 6 against Man City, home and away in the cup as well.
Incredible.
Time to teach Liverpool a lesson this weekend.
Wouldn't mind that.
And the last one is from Phil P. Big up Phil, and he says, "I don't care about Levy for Christmas number 1." Woo!
I'm sure we'll get the Spurs fans voting. Come on, Phil.
All right, let's get into reacts and see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. So let's go on there. First one is from Kutison saying, "Oh, this ain't in English. Sonny's giggle at the end and Licha with a face. Kuti is going to spend it for life with this." I mean, not the best translation, but basically just look at Martinez's face when Son's hugging him. It's like a prolonged hug as well. And he's like, "Get me away, get me away."
Yeah, Sonny. He's always, what's it called? He did it to KWP and showed him a bit of love after the game. And no one could avoid the love from Son.
Yeah, I've never seen someone try and pull away from a Sonny hug as quick as him.
Sonny's just carry on. And it's because Cootie's not there. He's like, "Oh, you're a bit like Cootie."
Next up is from HM Sonny. This one says Ericsson and Hyungmin, and this is with the kitman Jukesy, Ericsson and Sonny posing for a picture with him yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Ericsson returning to the Tottenham Stadium. Obviously,
yeah, he got good reception. To be
fair, good moment for him. And obviously they played through together a lot, didn't they, Sonny and Ericsson? So.
Yeah. Scrappy Tweet says, "I'm crying real tears." And you know, when this happened, because it's at 3-2, isn't it?
Yeah, literally.
And literally, I'm looking at it. Oh, my God. I didn't know whether there's a laugh or cry at that moment.
If he would have swiped and missed that, I don't know if he would have got out of the stadium, I think.
Yeah.
Fraser.
Next one is from Today is to do the silence after Son's goal. I actually haven't seen this.
Take your time, man. Hurry up, man. Why is it taking
Saeed
too long
is
for,
top quality, man.
Why are you milking him, man? There's still 3 minutes to go. Why are you time wasting, time wasters, man. Why are you time wasting, though?
Oh, Saeed, I love him. It was 60.
It's got to be at least 7 minutes added on. Surely. 7 minutes added on at least.
Surprised the other guy's not eating biryani.
What are you talking about, bro?
Oh, I absolutely love that.
The silence.
Absolute shell-shocked.
That's what happens when Sonny scores direct from a corner. They don't know what to do. They can't believe what they've just seen. They were convinced when it was 3-2. I was seeing look at their reaction. They were like, "This is it. It's done. We're getting through."
Spurs have bottled it again.
Exactly. Oh, I love Saeed.
Next up from Kayla7, every picture I see of this moment adds a year onto my life, I think.
After the years that the last 20 minutes took off you, those pictures are adding life to you again. Lovely. It's a brilliant picture.
It is a brilliant picture.
With the two youngers, Gray and Dragoshin as well. I love that.
Yeah, don't even look at Dragoshin as a young player.
I
because
know.
He's just so physical. Like,
He's 22, man.
yeah, he is playing like in his mid-20s right now.
Yeah, he's playing a lot more maturely,
Yeah.
for sure.
Adam Webster says Fernandez is a coward. Look how he done
what did he do
Bergvall in
here?
there.
Did he punch him or something? What did he actually do? Yeah, when went for him. What's he doing? I know Bergvall's a bit of a shithouse. Maybe Bergvall's faking it. I don't know. I can't really see what he does.
It kind of looks like he just turns around and Bergvall makes the most out of it, but you don't know if something else is going on there.
Yeah, I don't know why. You can't really see where his right hand is if he's done him in or something. Anyway,
Do you reckon if there was VAR, they would have gone back to look at that?
Maybe probably they would have looked at it whether they would have sent him off or not.
Yeah.
I have to see a better angle of it. But anyway, Fernandez is a rat.
100%.
He's an absolute rat.
Confirmed. Spurs pictures that go hard. This picture's brilliant,
Love
man.
it.
Look at that.
There's something about Son with black gloves on. He's just elite, that aesthetic.
Invert the Wing says Son Heung-min, that is disgusting.
What a delivery. Of course, he absolutely meant it. Come on. Brilliant.
THFC's report says the bench's reaction when Sonny scored yesterday. Just look at this. Unbelievable.
Oh, there's Rishi. I can see him. Oh, Rishi, calm down, mate. Don't want to get injured again. Jesus.
Yeah, apparently Bergvall was on the bench with no crutches on as well. So that's positive.
Bergvall?
I mean, Odebear.
Yeah, he was dancing. There's a video of him dancing. A lovely moment. And look, I think everyone breathed a massive sigh of relief at that point because we looked like we might chuck it away.
It really was. I mean, that moment was just carnage because we just needed it so much. It was the biggest relief goal that I've had in quite a while.
Literally. You see on the watch along. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've seen it back. And again, Lily White Lab says, I find it hard to think of better Spurs number 6 performances this season than what Bissouma showed tonight. Covered the spaces between United's number 10 so well, had a real intensity and bite out of possession that wasn't dragged out of position, a real smoothness and calmness in every action on the ball, led by example in terms of decision making and when to attract pressure and when to pop it off. So frustrating because at his best he's so good, just lacks the consistency. Hopefully he can push on now because he was incredible tonight. And
9 out of 10 duels he won as well.
Yeah,
6 tackles.
yeah, I saw that. But it's something about Bissouma as well against Manchester United because you cast your mind back to the last time we played them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. How brilliant was he that day as well?
Yeah, true. He steps up.
That's probably his 2 best performances.
Yeah.
THFC report. This is Jed Spence coming off last night, and look at the hero's ovation that he's getting from the home.
It's so great. This is great moments for him because he's been out in the cold for so long, and it's really great for him to finally be getting that love from the fans that he's been basically kind of restricted of for so long because he just hasn't been on the pitch. So that's probably a brilliant moment for him, and to do it at home, he hasn't really had.
That's his first home start. Yeah.
Yeah. So fantastic for him. Was it his first home appearance?
I feel like he's had from the bench, but
all the ones I remember, even under Conte, his one appearance was away in a cup game against Forest.
has he played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before?
Don't know. Did he play against City in the cup? Maybe he came on.
I think he came on for the last minute, didn't he?
He might have come on in that game.
But in terms of making it,
Coventry was away.
Yeah.
Old Trafford he played.
But what I'm saying is, in terms of making an impact, and in terms of what he's had to go through this season of just being overlooked a little bit, and to show the quality, it's showing that the hard work is really paying off for him. Because, Andrew's spoken about it, about how much work he's putting in behind the scenes. And he's finally getting his chance and he's grabbing it with both hands, and that's all we can ask for.
But I really hope after now, first of all, hopefully he keeps his place in the team for now. But obviously there'll probably be a point where Porro gets it back or whatever. But I really hope he just has no qualms anymore about just putting him in.
Yeah.
And doesn't think twice about it. Because clearly he shows he's good enough.
Yeah. Next one's from Carly on you Spurs. File this under evidence I shouldn't need, but for some reason do that. Sonny is a great captain. And this was him with Archie Gray, the moment we were talking about before.
This is right at the end of the game where everyone's celebrating and he's going to Gray, and Gray does look a bit pissed off with what Sonny is saying, but you can see at the end they have a bit of a hug and they hug it out. But I think he's probably saying, but you can see he's a bit pissed off there. He pushes him away, but he gives him a hug at the end, and I think he's all right. But clearly, I think he's saying, why'd you play it back? Play forward. You no reason to give it back to Fraser there. And I think that's maybe coming from a bit of nervousness. We just conceded the goal, and he's like, let's just get it back and, try and see out the game kind of thing.
And also, like, when you look at that clip, it just shows you about Sonny, right? Everyone says, oh, he's just too happy all the time. He just wants to make everyone happy around him. Well, that's clearly not true. Like, if he sees something that he wants to correct, he has no problem sticking it on the player and telling them that this is what they should be doing, even if it's going to piss them off.
Yeah, but he's not doing it in a way just to criticise him.
No,
clearly,
it's constructive.
Exactly. And even though you can see Gray's not delighted with what he's saying, and this is just after the win as well. We've just gone through. Gray's just played 90 minutes in a Carabao Cup game where
an 18-year-old out of position.
An 18-year-old where a lot of people might have just been like, "Oh, you've done well," just to get through. And Son's like, "No, it's not enough. Like, I want you to be better, even though it's not your position."
Levels, mate. Absolute levels. SZY Comp says, just realised Sarr and Madders are suspended for the first leg. Have we had this confirmed, by the way? Are they definitely suspended?
Madison, definitely. I didn't see anything about Sarr. I'm guessing it's probably true as well. But Madison, yeah, that's what they said. He got booked.
Sarr got booked as well.
If you've had 2 bookings, you get a 1-game ban.
So what games did we have in the Carabao? It's Coventry,
City, and United.
Coventry, City, and United. So let me just quickly check, because and
Madison got booked just before coming off as well. Such a stupid booking.
So in the City game, Gray, Bissouma, and Sarr got booked.
I'm guessing
Sarr got booked in the 23rd minute that day, and then a similar time yesterday as well.
got booked against Coventry.
Must have been Coventry against his old club. In the Coventry game, it was Madison in the 90th minute,
and he got booked just before. I think you said something to the referee, and he got booked just before going off. So
he got booked in the 90th minute for an argument as well.
Yeah, so stupid, Madison. Keep your mouth shut, mate. But anyway, so they're both going to be out. I mean, it's very annoying. First leg at home as well. Those are the 2 players you kind of need.
With the injuries as well.
Back,
with the injuries as well.
Maybe Decky can fill in the middle and maybe put Brendan out wide.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Brendan's not getting many starts at the moment, is he?
But still, lack of options, That means, what's our bench going to look like then? Hopefully Richarlison might be back. He could be an option.
I think it's too early for Richarlison.
We'll have to wait and see. But
because it's 6th, the game's going to be, the 8th of January?
Yeah.
Because they're saying Richarlison's like mid-January, aren't they?
Well, we heard the 6th.
Well,
9th,
don't want to rush him back as well.
Well, might be on the bench. I don't know. I guess he came off the bench last time and got injured. But look, it's another 2 players in the first leg we just could do without, couldn't we?
Yeah.
So it's a bit annoying.
Particularly for such a big game as well.
Yeah. But look, second leg they'll be back.
Yeah. Jake says, won't get an assist for that, but Spence picking up the ball and playing that pass to Son was absolutely vital in winning that corner. So impressed by what he offers in possession. And obviously he's talking about the corner that we scored from.
That's a good point as well, because again, if Ange would have told his players, need to see out the game and just keep things tight and simple, and when you get the ball, don't look to go forward, just boot it forward and be conscious of being tight. That moment probably doesn't happen. Spence probably doesn't look to go forward, doesn't look to seek out an opportunity, and that's where the goal comes from. And obviously, not necessarily because of his big slice of luck and we scored from a corner, but it all comes from that approach where we always still look to go forward.
Yeah. Jaunty CFC Janty says, fair play, Spurs own Manchester 2-1 in the Carabao Cup against City, 3-0 in the Premier League at Old Trafford, 4-0 in the Premier League at the Etihad, and 4-3 against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup.
They must be sick of the sight of us.
We've conquered Manchester, now we need to go to their neighbours and conquer Liverpool.
Exactly, absolutely. And we got them both at home to come in the league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Both at home in the league, yeah. Unbelievable.
Tottenham Hotspur. This is Odebear and a doggy dancing after the game yesterday to Free From Desire.
Like to see Odebear. I'm happy that they're out celebrating, because when you're injured and you're not playing, it might be easy to not feel part of the team and it's not your success.
It's a family feel.
That's the thing. They clearly feel part of it. The fact that they're celebrating the win like that with the fans as well. That's really nice to see.
I like this picture next. There's Carly on You Spurs, Vicario going up to Fraser Forster after the game. Just, you know, bit of leadership there from Vicario to the experienced Fraser Forster.
Yeah, and you can see it's in response to this. This is the picture of him when the Forster was making the mistakes.
Yeah.
And Cooper was making this point in the watch-along saying that because Vicario looked really pissed off after those mistakes. And he said, I like that because a lot of times when a keeper's not playing and there's another keeper in his place, when they make a mistake, it's almost like, well, as long as it's not me kind of attitude to it. And it's like, well, if he's making a mistake, well, that means I'm getting my place back kind of thing. But Vicario didn't have that, which means he's really, you know, invested in the club and invested in us doing well, not just him doing well. And that's like good. But we've seen that, obviously.
But you know what? I wouldn't have expected anything less from Vicario.
Of course.
You know that because we know what his mentality's like. We know what his personality, and that's why he's been added to the leadership group this season.
Good point.
So I think that's exactly what I expect from Vicario, and I'm happy, you know, he's actually following through with it. Carly on You Spurs as well. This is Reguilon coming off the pitch yesterday. I can't believe Reguilon played yesterday.
It's strange, doesn't it?
It looks so
weird with him back in a Tottenham kit.
It's madness.
Reguilon. I wonder if he, well, obviously, I don't think he's going to get any minutes going forward because the doggy's going to play on Sunday, but.
But do you reckon it's like kind of that thing that we were talking about with Dorrington, like just give him a taste of it just in case? You don't want him to be completely lacking match fitness at all because an injury or two in the fullback areas, we have to use him.
100%. So, yeah, probably just give him a bit of a taste back in the team. And obviously Spence, I think, was out on his feet a bit and we just needed a break and he was the only one left, so yeah.
Carly on You Spurs as well. Look at this in Ange Postecoglou. This is the interview that we were talking about before in the match.
Yeah,
review.
look at I've never seen that smile before, ever, in any game. That's the biggest smile I've ever seen.
Are you not entertained, he says.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, Russell Crowe's Australian, isn't he? So he probably watches that film a lot. But yeah, I think he just realised what a big night it was.
Yeah.
He realised that we needed that win and how big it was for the fans. So the fact that we got it under the circumstances, I think he was just very proud of the team.
Absolutely. THFC report. Look who was at the game yesterday. Yang Min Hyuk was in attendance at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
In his career national team jacket, looks like.
Yeah. But yeah, look, he's around and very soon until, 10 days or 12 days until he can officially make his first start.
I wonder if we'll start seeing him in training soon.
Maybe. I don't know if he's allowed to. Is he allowed to officially? I guess he should be. Why not?
Yeah, he can't play, but he can train. Why
Yeah,
not? Yeah.
I'm sure we will. Have they done like an announcement, like a proper announcement for him when we signed him?
Yeah.
Oh, they did, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, they did a whole press.
Oh, yeah. Ben Haynes says, did you mean it? What do you mean? Of course. This was the interview after the game with Sonny.
He whispers it, but Ben Haynes like, did you mean it? And he's like, and they have a laugh about it. He meant it. Come on, never in doubt. Never in doubt. And I think Clive was saying, was it a shot, I think. Brilliant. Well, look, whatever you want to say about it, the least you can say is a very good delivery. And it was.
Absolutely. Ayudi saying, I may be a little too soft for this. This is Ericsson and Sonny embracing each other after the final whistle.
It's a nice moment. No hard feelings with Ericsson there, it looks like. I'm sure they're great friends.
Does Sonny ever fall out with anyone?
I wonder if Sonny has any ops.
No, he doesn't.
Does he have any ops? If you're a Sonny op, let me know. I would like to know.
Nobody.
I wonder if there's any players out there who just hate him or something. That he's got a rival.
The only reason why someone would hate him is jealousy. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I wonder who's jealous of him. I want to know.
Spurs Express, Son on the goal. He says, that's the first goal I scored directly from a corner since elementary school. in elementary school, he's probably just pinged them all in from the corner.
Sure. I bet a corner was like a penalty in elementary school for him.
Data MB just tweeting out saying washed.
Love it.
How many times do we have to tell you guys? We've been quite consistent on here saying Sonny is still of the highest quality. He's far from being washed.
That's 12 goal contributions and 16 starts in all competitions now.
Unbelievable.
I think if you look at his stats, though, I think, like, again, people have been saying he's on poor form, like recently or something. But with that goal, let me see his match logs, because I think he's doing really well now in terms of his recent form. So the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Oh wait, let me just go Tottenham. I can't just do Tottenham. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got three. Well, 4 goal contributions in his last 3 games, and then City, Roma, he scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the last 7 games, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 goal contributions in his last 7 games. So it's like I just don't see where this poor form is.
Just put some respect on his name, but like we see this every season. We see this every season. He goes through a bit of a period, and everyone says he's finished, he's this, he's that, and he responds every single time, and that's what we're seeing right now. Next,
It keeps on corners. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Next up, look at this angle of the goal yesterday. This angle is just beautiful.
The whip.
Just beautiful. Look at that. Oh,
beautiful. Look at it. Bayinda just didn't know how to deal with that. Maybe he did catch him off his line because he makes one step out, doesn't he? I don't know. Maybe he was just aiming for the back post, and if it goes all the way, it goes all the way.
I'm saying he meant it.
Come on.
Hotspur related. Look at this passion from James Maddison yesterday.
Love it.
That is passion.
Love it from Madders.
And this one saying, man scored an insane goal and started acting cute.
Anything Sonny does is acting cute. Come on. But yeah, it's a great celebration. Everyone chasing him. No one could believe it.
Yeah. This one says, it was my fault. I should have played it forward rather than back to you. Stop.
That's what you can, if you read.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, he said it's my fault. You can see he said it's my fault. Yeah, he said it's my fault, mate.
It's not really, though.
Yeah, but it's great for, I mean, he's obviously trying to make him feel better, but for an 18-year-old centre-back to come and, take responsibility like that, for an experienced player as well. Yeah, usually it's other way around, isn't it? The experienced player will try to take responsibility even though it's the other guy's fault. That's what Gray's trying to do, and that's really nice to see.
Yeah.
And that shows the head he's got on his shoulders as well.
Yeah, that's true. Forster's probably replying back to him saying, nah, you're all right, kid.
Yeah.
Carly again says Vicario in literal shock. Yeah, we've seen that. Next one is this Archie Gray from Football Talent Scout saying the 18-year-old Spurs Swiss Army knife Archie Gray delivered another solid performance, this time as a centre-back. His pass to Forster for Xerxes' goal could have been sharper, but it's not something to hold against him. I'd love to see him more in midfield, but there's no doubt he's on his way to the top, and I couldn't agree with that more.
I think he's just been brilliant ever since he's come in, really has. I'm blown away by how settled and composed he is in playing the way he is at his age, and clearly it's showing why we were so desperate to get him in. I was just listening to Andrew's press conference saying how he was a player that we just felt like we couldn't miss out on, and that's why we even spent big money and maybe even didn't get a more experienced player in the summer because we wanted him so much, and I can understand it now. And even though 6 months he's had to kind of bide his way to get into the team, and maybe he's got into the team regularly because of injuries, this guy's a top talent, and like in 2 years' time, how good is this guy going to be? He's going to be incredible, isn't he? And he's already so good he's at this level already. I mean, this guy is a serious talent. Yeah. I think more people should be talking about him.
And don't worry, let him go under the radar a bit, because they will. If they're not talking about him,
I'm happy they're not. But
if they're not talking about him now, they definitely will be by the end of the season. That's for sure. Davina THFC says, "What an effing player, man!" And that's more love coming for Jed Spence.
Great standing ovation, and I'd say a brilliant moment for him, and it's an important moment for him.
StatMuse FC goals this season: Dom Solanke 8, Ollie Watkins 7.
Well, it's on 9 now, Solanke, so he's 2 ahead of Watkins.
Oh wow, was that was after the first goal yesterday?
Yeah, that was after the first goal, so brilliant. I think it must be all competitions, but
yeah, it is, because he's on 5 in the league, I think.
5 in the league, but still, we were saying before the season, Watkins is probably one of the strikers who's better than him, but maybe that can start to turn. Who knows?
How many is Havertz on in all comps?
In all comps, I don't know. He's on 5 in the league.
Well, Havertz having a bit of a poor season, but you've got that bet with Lee Judges on this season for charity.
I do. And it's level at the moment, and he was ahead before, but I'm going to win it. I'm confident, very confident.
Henry Winter says Archie Gray is 18. He's playing centre back very capably. He's good at fullback. He's best in central midfield. Whichever position he takes responsibility, elite mentality, brilliant signing by Tottenham, and he'll get better and better. He's only 18.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's brilliant from him. Yeah, so great.
Remember when Sarr had those really good performances under Conte, And we were like, why isn't Conte being played more? Why isn't Conte being played more? But that was like the kind of moment we realised like Sarr's going to be a really good player.
Which moment?
When he started getting that game time under Conte because of the injuries in the middle of the park.
Against AC Milan.
Against AC Milan. Exactly. That game specifically, right? Do you reckon these last couple of games from Archie is like that kind of moment for the Spurs fans with Archie Gray?
Potentially. I think maybe we still need that. Like, he's playing well, don't get me wrong. This is no criticism at all, but like, I think we need like a game of him in midfield just like bossing the whole game. Then it's like, okay, this guy needs to be playing every game kind of thing. At the moment, it's all like he's doing really well, but he's still not got a nailed down spot in the team yet.
Yeah. Mark Stats Bot says Spurs 4, Manchester United 3, XG 1.7 to us, 2.94 for them. X threat 0.78 to 1.27 to them. Possession 46 to 53. Field tilt and defensive action heights.
I also think, but if you look at the XG number, I think it's very this on this occasion. I think actually the XG is a bit, what do you call it? A bit you can't read too much into it because two of those are the goals we've gifted, like those 2 goals, and they're both like really high XG chances because they're both like basically on the line. There's basically 2 0.99 chances there that we've gifted them. So, I like, as much as they won the XG battle, I don't think that tells the story of the game, in my opinion.
And if we can just refresh and just go right to the top, there's just one more that's just been liked. Here we go. Kayla saying the fuck you Martinez to yay go Sonny goes crazy from the fans. This was brilliant as well because Martinez is like going to Sonny, hurry up and take the corner, hurry up and take the corner, and like pushes him towards the corner flag. And then he just puts it in the back of the net.
You want me to take it, man? I'll take it. That's what you want.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
oh, I love that. I absolutely love that.
You be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. Maybe that's why you saw Martinez didn't want to hug him for so long.
Brilliant.
Hero, Son Heung-min.
Oh, wait. Can we see this one as well quickly? I've refresh the likes. Reguilon's just posted on Instagram. It's brilliant.
What's he said?
Said, look, Mum, I played a football game yesterday. Absolutely brilliant.
Reggie.
This is brilliant. Well done, Reggie.
All right. So that is how the internet did react to the 4-3 win against Manchester United last night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Is there anything else? No.
Oxford have appointed a new coach, Gary Rowett.
Oh,
Dane
Scarlett.
Maybe, because Gary Rowett's a good coach, isn't he? Maybe he can get some goals out of him.
I mean, he's been doing really well.
Dane
this season.
Maybe get more goals.
You know, actually, I've been speaking to a Leyton Orient fan.
Oh, here we go.
And he basically every Leyton Orient game he messages me about Jamie Donnelly and Josh Keeley. He watches Leyton Orient religiously. It's the Sam that used to come in his studio, so I speak to him quite a lot about Leyton Orient, and he's telling me that Jamie Donnelly is coming into the season now in a massive way.
I heard last few games he's been brilliant.
He has been performing really well, and he's really unlucky not to get quite regular. He hasn't got any assists over the last 3 or 4 games, but he should have loads, is what he's saying.
And Keeley as well has been having a great season.
He says that that goal from Keeley in the last minute in the cup to keep him in the cup has actually transformed Leyton Orient season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, the Spurs boys doing us proud.
All right, so we're going to move forward and look at the Liverpool game. We're going to start off with the predicted lineup, and we're going to go into the team news first after Ange Postecoglou's pre-match press conference.
Yeah, let me just sort out the lineup thing. Okay, so the injury news of the press conference, nothing new. He said a doggie's going to be fine, which is really good. So that's really important, and he's going to be available for Sunday. In terms of new injury news, he said that he did the press conference before the players came back into training today, so he said he has to assess a few people, but we'll have to wait and see how they're doing. There's, so Van de Ven, not going to be seen till Jan. Ben Davis, he said he's the next off the rank. but probably another week or so away. He said Mikey Moore is back in training, but he's going to have to be back in training for a couple of weeks before he's back in the fold, so he's not available. Obviously, Odebear, Richarlison, they're still long-term absentees. Romero, not going to be seen until probably mid-Jan. And Vicario is also another long-term absentee, so he's not back as well. So not looking like we're going to get anyone back, probably, apart from a doggy. For Sunday. I'm trying to think if can he rest anyone? I don't know. That's what we have to do at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, it's really tough, but it's great to have the positive news on Mikey Moore.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure he'll be back for... Will that be before the end of the year or just after the new year he'll be back?
Yeah, actually probably just after, probably the end of the year.
So,
He said he would have been playing a lot if he was fit, unfortunately.
Of course he would have, because of the numbers that we've got. But you know what? Brennan Johnson has been nicely rested over the past couple of games, so he's probably in line for a start. But we'll get into the predicted lineup. In goal will obviously be Fraser Forster.
Yeah, and let's just hope he is a lot quicker with the ball at his feet in this one, because obviously there was disaster last game. But yeah, let's just hope Liverpool don't press him too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, look, as Aaron said, he's the guy with gloves on. Don't need to give him the ball.
Yeah. So, so you are giving it down to Archie then? Why we conceded
exactly, Archie. Don't give it to the one with gloves, for God's sake. Although Sonny was also wearing gloves, but maybe got confused.
The goalkeeper glove. Right back, I think it will be Jed Spence. I think Pedro Porro will be given a rest in this game, and Jed Spence has earned his spot, so he has to persist with Spence.
I think he tried to rest Porro, didn't he, for the Bournemouth game?
Yeah.
Didn't go to plan. So, but he had to play, obviously, he had to play against United because Udogie was out. But with Udogie now set to be okay, I think it's time to now give Porro a rest, put Spence in. There's no reason not to play him because Spence is playing great. So Spencer right back.
Right centre back will be Radu Dragusin. I think again, since coming into the team on a regular basis, I think he's growing and growing into that role. You're really seeing the stature coming out in his game. I feel like could be a bit better on the ball, but from a purely defensive standpoint, which we're going to need massively in this game, he's been brilliant. Yeah,
and look, the only problem for him is he's playing so much. He's playing every game.
Yeah,
and we talk about we need players need rest. And, Romero and Van de Ven have picked up injuries, and is it a matter of time if we keep playing him? He's going to pick one up. I hope not, but hopefully one of Davis, Van de Ven will be back soon. But yeah, he's obviously going to have his work cut out for him, whether it be Jota or Nunez playing up front. They're difficult players to deal with. But yeah, he's been playing brilliantly. So he has to keep his place.
And then alongside him will be obviously Archie Gray, who's also been playing unbelievably well, stepping in at centre-back as an 18-year-old. The tests keep getting bigger and bigger for him. This time now he's got to have to contend with the likes of probably Diogo Jota and Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, we said that the United game was his biggest test, and it's just getting bigger now. So this is by far his biggest test. And look, I don't think we can expect him. We're not going to expect him to have a world-class game or anything like that. It's just going to have to try and get through this game as best he can. But the way he's dealt with the challenges over the last few games, maybe you can't rule him out having a very good game here. But I think it's very important. If it doesn't go right for him, we shouldn't criticise him because look, it's not his position, and they're the best team in the league. So I guess like at the moment it is what it is in terms of this game for him personally, in my opinion. But let's hope he can stand up to the task.
Well, you cast your mind back a few years back. Japhet Tanganga, an unknown Japhet Tanganga, gets put into the deep end. Was it by Jose Mourinho? And he put in a brilliant display against a top Liverpool side. So who says Archie can't do it?
Well, he was a centre back at least.
Yeah, he's a natural centre back, but he's been playing centre back. He's been playing centre back to a good level.
Look, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying I think we should temper expectations going into this game. If he has a bit of a stinker, if it happens, let's not jump on his back.
All right. And at left back, Ange has mentioned it in the press conference. Destiny Udogie is back fit to play in this game. I felt like they just left him out against Manchester United more as a precaution than anything else.
Although I was a bit surprised he wasn't on the bench.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing we didn't. I guess we'll mention it when it gets to full play. Was that Werner was ill, and he said he should be back for the game on Sunday. But we'll have to assess him. But I don't know if he's available. But yeah, I'm surprised he was on the bench a bit.
Udogie's got a previous against Mohamed Salah though on that side. He usually stands up to the challenge.
So let's hope he does it again. It's not going to be an easy game. Salah's in the form of his life at the moment, and Udogie hasn't been having the best form.
When you're talking about Salah in the form of his life, that's some form.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And Udogie hasn't been at his best. But let's hope this rest will have done him well.
Yeah. So a back four of Spence, Dragoshin, Gray and Udogie. In the number 6, it is Bentancur's last game of his ban, so fully expecting Bissouma to be in the 6.
Yeah, I guess the only other shout would be Bergvall, who did start against Southampton, but the way...
Not against Liverpool, man.
Yeah, the way Bissouma played, I think you just got to keep him in. He played brilliantly. Hopefully that week rest he had will have done him well, which means he can maybe come into this game a bit fresher, even though it's a quick succession. So, Bissouma has to play.
I think alongside him will be Pape Matar Sarr. Again, I thought he put in a really good display on the weekend, in midweek last night, and we're going to need his legs in the middle of the park.
Definitely. A Liverpool team that are very energetic in the middle. Also, a lot of their players had a rest in midweek, even though they played. A lot of their players rested. You know, the likes of Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, brilliant players and in great form. So we need Sarr to really be getting around that pitch.
Yeah, and to make up that middleman midfield 3, in my opinion, will be Decky.
Yeah,
I think Decky will be in the middle 3.
I think Maddison comes out and Decky comes in. So I agree with that. I think we're going to need that steal. I think it's very important against the Liverpool team to have a strength and steal. Maddison as well has started, the last 3 games? Again, you can say that for anyone, I guess, but he's the one where if we can give a rest to him in lieu of playing against Forest, we can. Brennan as well is going to need an opportunity to play, isn't he? And I think this might be the opportunity for him to come in. So we're going to go for Decky in the middle.
Yep, which makes moving into the attacking options on the right-hand side, Brennan Johnson, who's actually been nicely rested over the past week or so.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can come into this with some freshness, with some energy, and really hurt that high line of Liverpool.
And Robinson hasn't having the best time of it. He's back apparently after his ban, but if he starts, hopefully Brennan can look at that as an opportunity to make use of what is bad form for him at the moment. So he's going to have an important role to play. He needs to be a lot better than he's been recently, Brennan. But look, let's be honest, he's still a guy who's scoring goals quite fairly consistently. So if he can get on the end of one here, it'd be brilliant.
But I feel like this could be a real big game for Brennan because of the space that Liverpool are going to leave, and he can get to that back post. He can really find the space in behind. So that's where Brennan can come alive.
Especially with Trent not being the best defensively on that side. If Son can get a ball across the face of goal, there you go. Then there could be a bit on a plate for Brennan. Yeah,
so I'm just looking how many minutes Brennan has actually played over the last week. So yesterday he came on for the final minutes or so against Southampton. How many minutes did he get against Southampton?
He came on at half time, didn't he?
He came on at half time. So 45 minutes in the last week or so. So he should be really fresh and chomping at the bit.
And hopefully he's going to have to work as well. Maybe if Spence on that side, helping out defensively as well, making sure he's digging in deep. So going to need a big performance from him as one of the fresher players.
In the number 9, obviously, will be big Dom Solanke. Top performance last night against Manchester United. Let's hope he's got enough in the tank to repeat that because he put in a big effort.
Yeah, and he only got 7 minutes. He only got 2 minutes rest, didn't he, off the end of the game?
If you can call that rest.
Yeah, kind of. So, again, as you say, big effort, but he's another guy, similar to Decky, he just seems to be able to churn out these performances. So, big day for him. Hopefully as well, if no Konate for Liverpool, he'll be looking, whether it be Quansah or Joe Gomez, is that an opportunity to try and ruffle some feathers there and close them down. And look, we know Van Dijk is Van Dijk. That's going to be a challenge in itself. But yeah, look, Liverpool have been leaking a few goals recently, so let's hope Solanke can take advantage of that.
And last but not least, on the left-hand side, you already know who it is. It's Son Heung-min, the hero from Thursday night. Let's hope he can be the hero again, as he has been so many times against Liverpool.
Yeah, with Werner struggling with flu or whatever he's got, I don't think he comes in here. I know Son played 90 minutes on Thursday, but we are just going to need him here. And he did get a 45-minute rest against Southampton, so hopefully that rest will lead to less of a compounding effect when it comes to his fitness. And up against Trent, look, Trent is a player who, whatever you want to say about his improvements, he always gives you a chance as a winger. And I saw Fulham relentlessly attack that side. So Son has got to look at that as an opportunity to really go at him, and when he gets an opportunity one-on-one, just take him on. No prisoners, and hopefully he can really take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, and I hope that the Spurs team, after the last couple of games, do have a bit more confidence about them and can really, take the game to Liverpool. And whatever you say, if you take the game to Liverpool, there'll be chances there for you. There will be chances there for you. It's just about keeping them out of the other end, which is the difficult bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our lineup that we think it's going to be on Sunday. Fraser Forster in goal, Jed Spence at right back, Destiny Udogie at left back, a back two of Radu Dragusin and Archie Gray. Bissouma, Sarr and Kulusevski in the middle of the park, with Brennan on the right, Sonny on the left, and big Dom Solanke up top. If you think that is the lineup, let us know in the comment section below. Any changes you would make, let us know in the comment section below as well. But that is our predicted lineup to take on Liverpool on Sunday. So I guess let's take that off and let's get into the match review. Big game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Preview. I was still in the match review. I thought we had already won this game. But no, it's a big game, man. Really big. On the back of 2 really good wins for Spurs, 5-0 against Southampton and 4-3 to put us in the semis. It just had to be the team that we got drawn against in the semi-finals. Bit of a dress rehearsal for that game in a couple of weeks' time. But Liverpool obviously going really well at the top of the league. But they have started to stutter a little bit of recent weeks. You know, 2 draws in the last 2 Premier League games?
In the last 2 Premier League games, 2 draws,
So
Newcastle and Fulham.
Do you think that we are like playing a bit of a wounded animal at the moment, or you can't really say that if they haven't lost?
I wouldn't say wounded animal. I still think they're playing quite well. And against Newcastle, they came back really impressively after being behind and looked like they were going to win that game. And Kelleher
chucked it away.
Chucked it away. I thought they were brilliant though in that second half. Then Fulham, the way they played with 10 men, I think they'll be really proud of that performance. And I think they could have easily won that game, even with 10 men. The chances they created, I thought they were super impressive. So obviously we know what it's like to play a Liverpool side with not their full count of players like it was last year. And we just about go over the line very luckily in that one. I don't think it's a wounded animal, but I don't think it's it's going to be a very difficult game. They're on the midst of they're leading the title race at the moment. They're 2 points clear against Chelsea at the top. They need to keep winning and keep that consistency. They've just got a plethora of attacking options and players to choose from. Midfield as well. Harvey Elliott coming in midweek and scoring. You know, he's a forgotten man. He's a brilliant player as well. They've got these kind of players who can contribute for them. And at the moment, we're obviously running on empty. We're had a massive game and a massive effort on Thursday to get through that cup tie against Man United. We saw against even Chelsea when we can take the lead against these good teams, but you know, do we have the energy to sustain our level of performance? That's a big question mark. And Liverpool asked so many questions of you with all their forward players. Salah's in the form of his life. You know, Trent is just a phenomenon. They've got Gakpo in great form. Diaz is starting to score goals again. Jota's back as well from his injury.
Great goal, wasn't it, when he
brilliant
came back?
Goal, and he's a great player, a great goal scorer. The only weakness I'm seeing at the moment is definitely Robertson. He's definitely one who's getting caught out a lot. I think Trent defensively at the moment, down that side, he's one you can get at. And obviously Konate's out, so Joe Gomez is in. I don't think he's bad, but he's not as good as Konate. So I think Alisson as well, he's back as well in the fold. So I don't see many advantages when it comes to team selection or anything like that. But as you say, as much as they've done well in the last 3 games against Newcastle and Fulham, they've also have conceded chances and goals. And they have looked like conceding other chances as well. The goals they conceded aren't the only chance. It's not like they're conceding by the only chances they concede. They've conceded quite a few chances in those games, and if they allow us that level of room, we can definitely hurt them. We can definitely create chances against them. So we just got to try and take each chance as it comes and try and defend properly and see if we can get through this game. But it's going to be almightily difficult.
Yeah, it really will be. But I feel like Spurs always do turn up against Liverpool. Home and away. We just rarely get the result over the line, but
we always give a good game.
We always give a good account of ourselves against Liverpool, and I feel like the players that we have and how good we are in transition can be Liverpool's kryptonite. I know it's a different kettle of fish a little bit coming up against Klopp's Liverpool and coming up against Arne Slot, because it's the first time we're actually coming up against Arne Slot's Liverpool, and they do play it in a bit of a different way. They're a bit more calm and measured, where Klopp's Liverpool were just like literally just gung-ho, they just go for it. Liverpool under Arne Slot are a bit different, aren't they?
Definitely. They're not as rock and roll, although they do have that element to them when they want to be. When they can be, but they're definitely just more an element of more possession based, more control, more maybe focusing on not just constant pressure but timing of the pressure, and you know, kind of picking your moments to press rather than just relentless constant pressure like it was under Klopp. Not as much gegenpressing as you call it, but it's something that's been working for them. And also they still have that element when they want to fully go gung-ho like they did against Newcastle and Fulham. They have that ability to do that, and it can also be something that can really work in their favour. And because the attacking options they got, if they just pile men forward, they always back themselves to get the goals, and you know, it's going to be a real challenge trying to keep them down kind of to a minimum when it comes to goals on Sunday.
You're looking at Spurs against Liverpool in the form comparison. It looks very similar in terms of goals scored and goals conceded. It just looks very different in terms of results.
Yeah, results. Yeah, look at win, and then us is inconsistent. Obviously, our home form as well, not in the best shape at the moment. Their away form, as you can see, 4 wins and a draw. So, yeah, I mean, look, they're playing great form. What can I say? They're playing extremely well. They're favourites for the league title at the moment. This is a massive game for them because, you know, Chelsea and Arsenal have already played. It's a possibility they could be second if Chelsea beat Everton going into this game. So it'll be interesting to see the dynamic of the game going into it. Will the pressure be on them to win, or will they, or to even extend the lead, given they've got a game in hand?
It's interesting though, like if we beat them, Chelsea can go top of the league this weekend.
I'm saying they could be top going into this game.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they. When did Chelsea play?
Before,
Saturday.
They played before. I think Sunday before.
Oh, the game before. Wow, that would be incredible. Like with the lead that Liverpool have had, if they go into this game not top of the league, they're going to be bloody on it though. If that happens.
2 games in hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually a bit of a scary thought. Kind of hoping Chelsea lose earlier on. Who do they play?
Everton away.
Bit of a tough game though. Like Everton.
Not easy, yeah.
Everton haven't lost at home for a while. Probably about time,
Just got
to
a
be
point
fair.
in the Emirates.
Yeah. Head-to-head between the clubs doesn't make for good reading if you're a Spurs fan, but it's a game that always promises goals.
Yeah, it's always an exciting game, isn't it? And it's always a game where we always feel like we got a chance at least. And, I guess we play like we got a chance, I should say. We don't feel like we do. Yeah. We play like we do. We always give ourselves a chance, but it's always very, very difficult against Liverpool. We never seem to get that result over the line. We got a large slice of luck at the Tottenham Stadium last time. The VAR that went our way and the own goal in the last minute.
That
we
was
did
one
not
of the
deserve
luckiest
that win.
games I've ever seen.
Yeah, with robbery from Tottenham, but we got the win. I would take that on Sunday, though. I'll take it with a robbery if we can manage it.
What's his name on? Was he the lino that day, or in the VAR room? That ref that's just been sacked.
Coot.
Was it him?
Well, David Toot should be good.
Oh God.
I don't know if it was VAR.
But yeah, it was a massive, massive slice of luck. But I also feel like a lot of times over the years when Liverpool have beaten us, they've had that massive slice of luck.
Yeah, they've had. That's a good point. You know, they've had their fair share of luck against us as well, where we've missed big chances, and they've also got refereeing decisions their way and all that kind of stuff. And how many games have we sat there after the game thinking, how have we not got anything out of that game? And they've got a last minute winner.
From Sissoko to Lo Celso to all these
everything.
players, man, that have always missed like gilt-edged chances against Liverpool.
And look, we can't be as profligate on Sunday if we're going to get a result. If we get chances like against United, we just have to be clinical. In that United game, 3 shots that second half, 3 goals. And then we've got to be that clinical against Liverpool if we're going to get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of what we think a potential Liverpool lineup could look like coming into the game, I mean, is that Alisson's back, isn't he? So Alisson will be in goal. You're talking about probably a back 4 of Trent, Joe Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson. Gravenberch, I've been so impressed with Gravenberch
what a player.
this season.
He's been phenomenal.
And you're looking at him compared to last season. I mean, he was a bit part player last season, wasn't he, coming in and out? I mean, Arne Slot has made him probably the best or one of the best CDMs in the league.
Yeah, look, Liverpool were trying to spend big on a 6 in the summer, and they went for Zubamendi, they went for other players and didn't get anyone over the line. And instead, they just promoted Gravenberch to that 6 position. He's like, all right, I'm going to make Gravenberch the best 6 in the league. And he's pretty much done that, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. The way he reminds me of... He basically reminds me of a more controlled version of Basuma, essentially. Just so much, very good at dribbling, so aggressive off the ball. But also, because he's got history of being a more attacking player as well, he's got that ability, that passing as well, that passing ability to break lines and that dribbling ability. He's not scared to go through to attack space when he sees it. But he's really added that skill and aggression to his game, which maybe he didn't have as much last season. He's a lot more controlled in possession as well. And he's one we're going to have to basically stifle if we're going to stop their midfield dominating.
Yeah. It's a massive positive and for them that they got a lot of rest in their midfielders in the Carabao Cup game, because they played 2 kids in the middle of the park, which meant Gravenberch, I don't know if he came on late in the game, but he didn't play, and Szoboszlai didn't play either. McAllister did start the game, but you do expect a midfield of probably Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister, right?
Or Jones.
Or Jones, like one of them, but either way, the only one that weren't rested on midweek was McAllister. So maybe it's him that comes out, but I don't know. He's a very important player for them. That's the difference between them and us. Like we didn't get the affordability to rest anyone in midweek. So maybe they do have that freshness coming into it.
That's the worry, and that's the probability as well. And as well, it's not even the freshness of the starting players. It's more players who can come off the bench and make a difference and have that fresh legs off the bench and while we're tiring as well. So that's going to be an issue. That's obviously something we're going to have to contend with. Obviously, we had that against Chelsea and we started really well, got the 2 goals, and then we just couldn't sustain it and ended up faltering. And the players, I don't know whether it was tiredness or whatever, started making stupid mistakes. We end up losing the game. Whether we've learned the lessons of that or not, we have to wait and see. But that is obviously something that it's just the reality of the game with the fact that we've got all these injuries. Not much we can do about it. We're just going to have to try and cop it and try and get on with it.
And in terms of the front line, I mean, obviously it'll be Mo Salah on the left. Who do you reckon? Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo, Diogo Jota?
So Jota came on in midweek. I don't think it'll be Nunes. I feel like it'll be. Ooh, I think Gakpo started. Did Diaz start as well?
Against Southampton, their front line was...
Was it Elliott?
It was Nunes, Elliott and Gakpo. So Diaz will probably start.
Diaz, Jota and Salah.
So, I mean...
It's their best front 3, yeah.
Yeah. Because Van Dijk didn't play on midweek either. So they've got pretty much a completely fresh team.
Apart from Konate.
Yeah.
That front. And also, like, if one of the front players isn't working, you've got Gakpo and Nunes to come on, and Elliott as well. So it's going to be difficult to deal with.
And you know what? No matter what players they put in their front line, they're all contributing. Gakpo's getting the goals. Diaz has scored many goals this season. Diogo Jota has come back and hit the ground running straight away. And Mohamed Salah is Mohamed Salah, who's...
They've got, maybe... I don't know how you can say either second or level with Chelsea with the best attacking options in the league. They've got unbelievable options. All of them could start in most teams, all their options. So... Yeah. It's an intimidating prospect. We're going to probably have to rely on a front players who played. A lot of them played against United. Maybe Madison will be on the bench, so he can maybe come on and change the game potentially. But yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult to contain them. I mean, it's going to. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, that's for sure.
You could say that again.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
I can't see us only conceding 1 either.
Yeah, so we're going to have to try and outscore them somehow, and that's basically going to be how we get something out of this game.
Yeah. I do think we can have a fast start, and I do think we can score early. It's just I really worry. I've said this a lot in recent weeks, but it's because of how many players we have out. Like, I really worry about us coming into the second half of this game and towards the last stage of the game. And I think Liverpool will be wary of that as well. They'll want to come on strong in the second half.
And I don't know if we'll be 3-0 up like we were against United, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we might have a lead, but it's probably going to be a slender one, and Liverpool all of a sudden can up their game. And also, you can see as well against Fulham and against Newcastle especially, they weren't great for like 60 minutes against Newcastle, and then they just upped their game in that half an hour. They made some subs, and all of a sudden it was like a different team, and they got 3 goals. Same against Fulham. They weren't great, and then they changed a few things and upped their game, and all of a sudden turned it around. And so they've got that ability, Liverpool. So it's going to be a very difficult game.
It will be very difficult. We do have a bit of a knack, though, don't we, of like getting under their skin. Like, it's always very, like I mentioned before, like evenly contested games, won by the odd goal here or there. But there's been many a time over the years with Liverpool where they should have got a red card and they didn't get a red card, or they have got a red card and it's a deserved red card, and vice versa as well. Like, they're usually very hotly contested games, these games.
Should have had a goal. Didn't get one.
Yeah.
There's always some sort of controversy. So I think if we're going to have I think our best way of kind of getting something out of the game is to make it a bit of a battle, make it a bit of a fight, battle for everything, bit of shithousery, frustrate them, maybe try and get them a man down or something, and that'll be the best way to do it, because if we go toe to toe with them if we make it easy for them, they have the ability to rip us apart. That's the reality as well. As much as we have the chance, we have ability to cause them problems. They've got the ability to tear us to shreds if we're not ruffling their feathers. So we just got to make sure that we're not making it easy for them. We're being aggressive, getting in their faces, frustrating them, making fouls in tactical fouls in difficult positions, pressing them, showing them we can hurt them as much as they can hurt us, and making sure it's not just one-way traffic. And maybe we got a chance. Obviously, Liverpool going to this big favourites, sorry. After we had a taxing game against Man United on Thursday as well. This game, no one's going to blame us for losing this game. So there's enough excuses to lose.
You think it's a free hit?
Yeah, I do. Especially after winning on Thursday, I do think it's a bit. I think if we would have lost on Thursday, I think the pressure comes on this game to try and get a result.
But when you're 10th in the league, right, is there ever any free hits? Because we've lost so many games where we shouldn't have in the Premier League. I feel like, obviously no one's going to want Ange sacked just because he lost to Liverpool. But because we've lost so many silly points this year, we kind of need to make it up elsewhere.
100%. And I'm not saying we don't try and get anything from the game,
but that's why I'm saying it's not a free hit.
Well, what I mean by free hit is we kind of got nothing to lose. Like there's if we lose, I think we can make up the points on. We got Forest at the moment. Forest are 4th, right? So we got Forest on Thursday. So even if we lose this game, as long as Forest don't win, we can catch up points on Thursday against
Who do
Forest.
Forest have?
I don't know, but we can. They're away at someone, I think.
Away at Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, no guarantee they win that game. Anyway, even if they do win, we got an opportunity to catch up points on Thursday against them. So at the moment it's 5 points, but so even if we lose this game, the opportunity is right there on the Thursday to catch that up. So in a way, I'm not saying we can afford to lose. Like when you're 10th, you can't afford to lose any game, but it's not the end of the world if we lose to this Liverpool team. It'll be a shame, but I don't think Ange comes under pressure if we lose this game.
Yeah, it's just it'll just be very frustrating because of the nature of how we've been so far this season in the Premier League. We just need to pick up points quickly if we want to start climbing up the league table.
But obviously, it'll add a lot of pressure on the Thursday game if we don't win this game. If we lose, sorry.
Is it a Forest on Thursday?
Yeah.
Bloody hell, it's all coming around so quickly because Thursday is Boxing Day. Like Christmas is like in a few days' time. It's madness. So we're really in the thick of it right now. And in terms of the way we're going to set up, we've brought you our predicted lineup. Go and check that out. But I mean, we haven't really been doing this double pivot in recent weeks. Do you reckon we revert to it in this game? Because I really feel like we need to be compact.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe we saw a bit of it on against United. Obviously, with Decky there as well, we're going to need everyone to muck in. And we're going to have to make sure. I think the right thing to do, which is exactly what Fulham did, actually, is they kept their left winger really high and wide. Or really high, basically on the last line, and we need to basically have Son there. That's what we need. We need to do with Son what we did against Southampton, just keep in that position where he's in that space between fullback and centre back, and he can have the ability to just go when we get the ball, and he can run and get in behind. I think that's the best option for us, and I think Trent is someone we've got to target on that side. Even though I think he's improved defensively, he's still Trent, and he's still not the best defender, and they're still very reliant on him on the ball. So Son's got to take advantage of that and make sure he's on that last line. Solanke's got to make sure he's holding the ball up as best he can. And we've got to make sure we're controlling that middle. Against, I was watching their game against City. The biggest thing City did was they just completely lost control of that middle of the park. They were losing balls left, right and centre in that middle. Liverpool was so aggressive. Every loose ball, Liverpool were onto it. They were making sure they were getting advantage there. And we got to make sure that doesn't happen. And look, I think we're better equipped in a weird way because in that game, City had like Gundogan and can't remember who else, but players who just at the moment aren't at a physical best and aren't best at protecting the ball. And I feel like we might have players with Decky in there, might have a better chance of protecting it.
Yeah, we need Bissouma to be on the levels that he was on for the first hour of the game against Manchester United. And if he is, then that's either an extra protection for the ball in the middle of the park. Do you feel like, though, genuinely, like we can win that midfield battle with Liverpool? Because their midfield has been so strong this season. They've all been rested as well.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for a bit we can. Can we do it for 90 minutes, especially when they're going to make changes and stuff? And, we probably only have Bergvall to come on in that middle. Maybe we'll have Maddison as well. But so maybe we can sustain something. But can we win the midfield battle? I mean, I haven't seen anyone do it against Liverpool, win that midfield battle, to be honest. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I think putting Decky in there increases our chances of doing it, for sure. And in fact, as much as they're a great defensive team, like Decky, because of his strength, like he'll fancy his chances as well of causing damage in that middle. I'm a bit more worried about Basuma and Sarr in a weird way, because as much as they're good players, obviously, and they're good physically, they can be caught on the ball if they're pressed relentlessly. And, can they protect the ball as much as well as Decky can? I don't know.
And they put such a shift in last night as well.
That's the thing. So you're going to need to be at your best strength-wise, protecting that ball, making sure you're not losing it, giving it away. And that's sometimes something they're lacking, especially when they're not at their physical peak. And Decky, I'm not always worried about it, but with them two, I'm a bit more worried about.
Yeah, 100%. And will the centre-backs, because Radu and Gray have been great over the past 2 or 3 games, but you're talking about a different level of opposition now. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the best team in the Premier League so far this season, where you're talking about the other 3 games, literally the worst team in the Premier League, a Manchester United team that rested a number of players, and a Rangers side who are in the SPL. So you're talking about a massive jump in opposition. Can Archie Gray and Radu Dragusin hold up to scrutiny in this kind of game?
If we get a win with them two at the back, give them the keys. Just sell Romero and Van der Ven before you get a win on Sunday, I think. I feel like that would be something special.
Even if we draw 0-0.
Honestly, if we can do something defensively with Gray there and Dragusin, not to say that I'm criticising them or anything, but look, as much as they've done well, this is a completely different kettle of fish. This is a completely different level of challenge. This is probably like 4 levels above what the challenge they've had. So I'll be still very surprised if they're not exposed in any way. But they've done brilliantly, and if they can muster up some level of performance that is good enough to get a result in this game, then that would really show what talents they are, I think.
You saw the comments from Arne Slot in his press conference today. High praise for Ange Postecoglou. He says he wants Spurs to win a trophy, just not the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, it reminds me of... so you wouldn't mind us winning the Prem, huh?
He said Europa League.
Yeah, Europa League. It reminds me of like when Mourinho used to sweet talk Harry Redknapp before he would batter us. That's usually how it would work. And Pep Guardiola likes to sweet talk managers as well. Maybe it's a bit of mind games, but obviously it's a high praise. He said he really thinks Ange is doing a good job, and he loves to see the identity the team have, and it's important that Spurs keep that identity, because that's what we love about Tottenham. I don't know if it's patronising, or I don't know if it's just high praise, but yeah, it's obviously kind words.
He said that you can never attack too much. You can never be too attacking.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean too attacking? You can never be too attacking. No, it's not possible. Well, I guess we'll see, Arnie, won't we, on Sunday? Maybe if we're too open or whatever. But it will be a good game, because Liverpool don't sit back. I know they're a bit more controlled, but they're not a team that just sit back and defend ever. They always go for it, and they do give chances, and they always look forward as well. So it should be a really interesting tactical battle on Sunday, and unfortunately we are hamstrung with the injuries, and that's going to really hurt our game plan. But doesn't mean there's no chance we're giving them a game. I think we can definitely give them a game, and it's whether we can sustain our fitness, or as much sustain our level of performance for 90 minutes can go a long way to determining whether we can get a result. But I think we can definitely score goals and cause them trouble. Like, there'll definitely be moments, I feel like, on Sunday where we feel like we're really on top of them. There will be moments, but I don't know how long we can sustain it.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult, particularly not only just the level of opposition, but the level of rest that both teams have had as well.
And set pieces
coming into it.
Good.
Set pieces. Yeah, but we've got Sonny who's just popping it in from corners, mate.
Give us a corner if you dare.
I don't think Alisson will give Sonny exactly what the Man U keeper did.
As soon as we get a corner.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. We've actually started to add those little dark arts to our games, which we've been calling to for ages. So maybe we'll see more of that on the weekend. But yeah, massive game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I want to know your score predictions and how you think the game is going to go in the comment section below. What's your score prediction?
3-2 to Liverpool.
Ooh.
3-2. I think it's going to be a spirited performance. I think there'll be enough positives to take away from it, but I just can't see us getting anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm also going to go for a Liverpool win, unfortunately, and I think it's going to be 2-1 to Liverpool. More than likely, though, every time me and Sim both do predict a loss. I think there was one recently where we did actually. I think it was the Bournemouth game, but more times than not, when we both predict to lose, Spurs surprise us. So let's hope that's going to happen again. I keep saying it, but I feel like Spurs can have a fast start to this game and score an early goal. But I think as the game progresses, Liverpool will just grow and grow in influence and momentum. And I feel they will break us down. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Liverpool. Sim's going for 3-2 to Liverpool. Back on the watch along this weekend as well. Very much looking forward to it. Let's hope for 3 points. But that is it from us today. I want to thank you all for joining us for this 2.5 hours. And we'll see you all very soon, guys. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on.